Black family, greetings. And thank y'all for tuning into another episode of Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase. We are now in a new season of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. This is season 11, episode 1 of Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase in conjunction with the Front Line Blacc News. And I'm your host, Chain Crooner. And we should be joined with Shabaka, maybe, hopefully. We will see. I know he's on the road, so he might not be joining us. And Lady Che, who's at the dollhouse, I'm at the Black House, and a slew of other people I sent the link out to, so we'll see. And I might just be solo dolo this morning, but either way, the show must go on. So on this season 11, it means we've been around for 11 seasons now. Episode 1 of Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase, we'll be discussing several topics. The first topic is Congress votes to release the Epstein files, but is it too late? Trump, aka the dump as in human shit, and we want to make that perfectly clear, signed the Epstein Bill into law. Chicago family's mother attacked by students. Black babies and mothers targeted by racist physicians. Hospital throws out Black mom in labor, gives birth in truck. Black Americans are done with Black politicians with immigrant backgrounds speaking for us. The agenda to attack FBAs for delineating. And if we have time, the ICE situation in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced is based off the 50th anniversary of the founding of the original Blacc Panther Party for self-defense. We started on Blogtalk Radio back in 2016 and have been around for 10 seasons now 11 seasons now. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced covers the Black experience from the beginning of time until 10 minutes ago. And it is also a part of the Frontline campaign and has recently, within the last 2 years, moved from Blogtalk Radio to Streamyard. Please like and share the show, the broadcast family. Please join us on Streamyard, YouTube, Frontline Blacc News. The links to all of our channels are in the description, including Frontline Blacc News, Frontline Blacc News 2, my personal page, Jesse Paris, aka Chain Crooner, the RBA, Lady Chase channel, The Revolutionary Agenda, Jay Militant's channel, What's Crackin' TV with Jay Militant, Kukizi, who does our intro track, usually for the Frontline Blacc News. His link is in the description, and he has joined us several times on this very platform. The Church of Black Power, a brother out of Watts, California, who's now in Houston, Texas. His link is also in the description. And our young brother, Black Truth United, his link is also in the description. He just did an awesome video about these immigrants coming over here claiming to be white and getting free goodies and giveaways. So I'll cover that on season 6, episode 1 of the Frontline Blacc News tomorrow. We signed a petition for reparations. The Change.org petition is in the description. Several GoFundMes are in the description. We laid our brother Black Voltron Reloaded to rest about almost a month ago. May he rest in power. His GoFundMe is in the description. The brother that mocked the death of Charlie Kirk and got expelled or withdrawn from Texas University, his link is also in the description. Our GoFundMe link is in the description. Our brother Greg Marshall Dixon out of South Carolina, his link to fight against, fight his lawsuit against South Carolina public schools is in the description. The family whose mom was attacked by the students in Chicago, their GoFundMe is also in the description. And of course, last but not least, Lady Che's GoFundMe is in the description as well. Also, we have copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. And I do not own the rights to the music. And if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you. And all 9 areas of human activity or people activity, which is economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And some say health and nutrition. And really see why they say health and nutrition today. And that's by the great Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. He didn't like to be referred to as doctor or great, but his work was great. Neely Fuller Jr., who transitioned this past February at the age of 95, produced justice.com. And when you, a black person, are captured by any race soldier, you just never fuss, fight, or flee. Comply and defend yourself in court. Also by Neely Fuller Jr., produced justice.com. And racism and white supremacy is conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival, to prevent white genetic annihilation. And that is by the great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who transitioned back in January of 2016. So those are the topics. Thank y'all for subscribing. Thank y'all for tapping in. I'm going to hop right into it with the first topic, which is the Epstein files. Congress votes to release the Epstein files, but is it too late? So our good brother, Professor Blacc Truth, is going to give us an update on that. And shout out to Twin, shout out to Mac, and shout out to the Jab Jamboree in the building. Salute. Thank you, Twin. Yeah, it's been 11 seasons. The Shabaka's Black experience in his. This one, yeah. So here it is, Professor Blacc Truth. Shout out to Professor Blacc Truth. I've been listening to him for over 10 years, and everything that he has said has come to pass. So make sure y'all sub to his channel if you haven't already.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. So there's been a vote on the Epstein files. Both houses of Congress have voted that the Justice Department needs to release its Epstein case files as soon as they receive the request from Congress, which one of the senators said should be today. The Senate voted unanimously for the measure. Meanwhile, in the House, only one member voted against it, some inbred-looking hick from Louisiana. Trump changed course on this and went from trying to persuade Marjorie Greene and others not to sign the petition to force a vote on it to now saying that he's fully on board with releasing the Epstein files. But that's weak sauce. The reality is the orange man couldn't stop it. And the longer that this dragged on, it was just another albatross on his shoulders. Worst of all, it was an albatross from his base. And while I personally believe that at this point, the Epstein files have already been purged or otherwise scrubbed and sanitized of the most damning information, I do believe that whatever the released information is going to be, it's going to be messy. And even though in all likelihood, Trump wasn't doing anything untoward with children, the Democrats, however, are going to run the same play that they did against Richard Nixon.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
Even if there's nothing particularly damaging in there against Trump, to a large degree, the damage has already been done. Even Trump's old allies are declaring him a total hypocrite. Nick Fuentes, of all people, pointed out that if Trump really wanted the Epstein files to be public as president, all he had to do was issue an executive order declaring everything related to Epstein be declassified.
By the way, it goes without saying, Trump could release the files himself. He could sign an executive order as the president of the United States, and the DOJ and the FBI could release them without an act of Congress, without any of it. Trump would not have released the files if he could get away with it. And he tried to. He tried to trick us. He tried to lie to us.
He bragged about how things are declassified merely on his say-so. So why didn't he say so about this? Trump's only saving grace at this point, the only thing he's done right, the one thing he knows he has to do, if nothing else, is to maintain the support of the MAGA base. The white left media points out that he didn't get a majority of the popular vote, but he doesn't need it. So long as he maintains support from a critical mass of the white right, he's going to be able to have a political base. He's been doing it for 10 years. But the problem for him is that his base is determined to pursue the Epstein files, which clearly Trump is not. And all of these attempts to kick the can down the road, to bury it, to claim it was just a Democrat hoax, he threw all the red meat he could and then tried to use every dog whistle, dodge, and trick that he could, but it just didn't work because his own base has been pulling in the opposite direction.
What needs to happen now is a transition. Trump is a lame duck. 2026, most likely he's going to lose the House. 2027, people are going to start to run.
Midterm elections are just around the corner, and I guess Trump's calculating that this furor over the Epstein files hopefully will have died down a little bit by then. His top priority is making sure the Democrats don't get back control of the House, because then they'll begin pushing for impeachment again. But if I was a betting man, I'd say that whatever truly damning information from the Epstein files was destroyed before now. As a political protest against the debauchery of the white elite, I think the demands to release the Epstein files has value, but as a law enforcement matter, which is what most of these people think it is, I think it's DOA. The people Epstein was trafficking girls to are the most powerful people in the world. And how many of them have you seen go to prison for anything? I would hope that I'm wrong, but I'm a student of history, and we've been here before with the JFK files. After JFK's assassination, the Warren Commission conducted what they called an investigation into it, but at the end, they then ordered a lot of the material, most of it, in fact, that they had gathered, to be sealed. That's what the Warren Commission did, and Congress, conveniently, was never curious about it. But the public never lost interest, and after Oliver Stone's JFK movie in 1991 caused a firestorm of interest in the JFK assassination, Congress felt pressure to pass the John Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992, which they claimed would set up a process to review and release the files. Though not much really came of that, and more recently we saw the same thing happen again when earlier this very year we were told that everything worth seeing about JFK was going to be released now. Since then, the public has been told time and again that the files have been released, that everything there is to know about the JFK assassination has already been made public. But that's not true. What is true, though, is that anyone who could have possibly been indicted or put in prison for killing Kennedy has long since died. So they're beyond the ability of anyone to punish them. And that's the entire point of having sealed the records. There's been a nonstop gaslighting of the American people to tell them that the idea that Kennedy was assassinated by a conspiracy, that was nothing but pure insanity, and that there was nothing to the idea that the JFK files had some sort of damning information. Well, those denials might have held weight if they hadn't kept the information secret and sealed for decades. And then all the way to the present, they still haven't released all the information. You can't claim that there's no cover-up when you literally have reams of information under lock and key and refuse to release any of it. And there's also been a similar effort to try to normalize the secrecy regarding the Epstein files. Let's be honest with ourselves. The kind of people who would be able to kill a president and keep the whole government quiet, these are people who can also make sure that any files related to it are picked clean of any damning information. If there was proof that proved powerful people were behind killing Kennedy, that information would have been destroyed long ago. Trump's DOJ also pulled the same JFK fake out and said that they were releasing the Epstein files back earlier this year. There was the much ballyhooed so-called Epstein binder, but as far as information goes, all they really released was some video taken from Epstein's cell block, not even video of his cell, but just of his cell block. And as with JFK, they claimed that now all the pertinent information on Epstein had been released and the matter was dead. That's what Trump was saying. There's nothing else to see here. It's a Democrat hoax. We got more important things. Epstein's not even that important. Of course, that was all a bunch of lies. In the case of Epstein, it hasn't been decades of a cover-up, but those files would incriminate far more people than the JFK files could. And worse, the Epstein files would incriminate people who are alive today, people who are still in the public eye, and whose lives would be destroyed by these disclosures. It would damage the institutions that these degenerates run too by confirming the public's belief that these politicians and these rich and powerful people are indeed engaged in all manner of demonic evil behavior, setting up islands where they can violate children. These people are just as evil as we always believed. This would confirm that the white elites are just as sick and degenerate as the public always said. They definitely don't want to confirm that. Though there is something else I think needs to be mentioned. Whenever there's some sort of scandal that involves white men being exposed, you can count the seconds before the white media twists itself into knots trying to make black men into the face of it. Let's go ahead and try to change the headline. We got to find some black man we can put on the cover. We saw it happen with Me Too. All those white media executives were being forced to resign in disgrace. But what happened next? The white media executives who hadn't gotten taken down yet, they used their media monopoly to start a steady drumbeat pushing headlines about any and every black male celebrity they could. even Michael Jack, the Epstein files names and shames people, the white media will make it a point to single out any black politician or celebrities or whomever get mentioned and place all the attention and all the coverage on them. Whenever white males are getting too many negative headlines, they always change the subject to a black person. There's already been stories now about longtime Clinton confidant Larry Summers having exchanged friendly emails with Epstein after the media had reported on the allegations against him. Epstein had been convicted of solicitation of prostitution from a minor in 2008. He was being sued by numerous victims as early as 2013. 2018 was when the Epstein scandal broke into the public, when the Miami Herald began to report on the sweetheart plea deal that he got and his pedophile island. Epstein would be arrested by the feds on July 6, 2019, but Larry Summers had already been in regular contact with this convicted pedophile literally right up until the day he was arrested. Summers' last email that he sent to Epstein was on July 5th, the night before Epstein was arrested. But Larry Summers didn't have to wait until the arrest to know that Epstein was a creep, because Epstein was already making headlines worldwide before that for several months. The scandal had broken wide open several months before the arrest, but obviously Larry Summers wasn't bothered by any of the stuff that was being reported on Epstein. Kind of reminds you of the Academy Awards, doesn't it? Over in Hollywood, everybody from Harvey Weinstein to Roman Polanski, these guys get awards and they get lauded. You got the rich and famous who can't wait to have pictures taken with them. Harrison Ford personally delivered Roman Polanski his Oscar, even though Roman Polanski had already been found guilty of raping and sodomizing a child and was a wanted fugitive for these crimes. So pedophilia is not something that's simply winked and nodded at by the rich and powerful in politics. It's all of this white supremacist culture that embraces that kind of stuff. They celebrate it, and they make heroes out of these degenerates who rape children. Currently, there's calls from people like Elizabeth Warren for Summers to resign from his post as a professor at Harvard. The New York Times has said that they're going to be severing ties with him. Now, of course, we know that where white power is concerned, these are just temporary measures. They're just doing this as a PR maneuver. They'll go ahead and do a quickie announcement, and then later on down the line, they'll quietly bring him back. The headlines about Larry Summers are pretty tame, too, compared to what you would expect. Not one of the white media's headlines are comparing him to Epstein in any way. Instead, they're minimizing it, saying weird things like, how could he be so stupid? Stupid? A man intentionally maintains contact with someone who he knows is a convicted pedophile and who has been making global headlines for running a pedophile ring out of his private island, and the white media talks about his pen pal Summers as if he had merely neglected to file taxes for a couple of years or something. That's white privilege at work. They have to protect the Larry Summers of the world for the same reason that they protect the Jeffrey Epsteins. Keep in mind, the bulk of the Me Too accusations came against white men in the media. A disproportionate number of those accusations were about these white media companies, and now these same white media companies are supposed to be reporting on Jeffrey Epstein and who he had dirty dealings with. Larry Summers knowingly maintained contact with a man that he knew was under investigation for running a pedophile ring, and he thought nothing of it. He talked to the guy like he was his best friend. Summers was literally asking Epstein for advice on how he should approach some woman that he wanted to be romantic with. Yeah, because when you're looking for love, the best guy to get tips from is a man who you know tried to solicit a child for sex and who was making global headlines for being a pedophile. That's not stupid. It's sick. But I think it's safe to say that Hakeem Jeffries won't be getting that kind of leniency from the white media. They're already reporting that in 2013, a political firm who had been working to boost Hakeem's congressional career once invited Jeffrey Epstein to a Democratic fundraising event, and that part of the function would be for Epstein to be introduced to Hakeem and get to know him. According to Hakeem Jeffries, he never met Epstein, and the white media has presented absolutely no evidence to support the idea that he ever did. But just like with Nate Parker and so many other black men, they're reporting on Jeffries as if he did meet Epstein. So the inference being that Hakeem Jeffries should have known that he shouldn't meet with this man, never mind that even the white media has admitted that Jeffries hadn't reached out to Epstein. A Democratic Party lobbying firm did that, not Jeffries. And even then, Jeffries never actually met Epstein. Even Rupert Murdoch's rag, the New York Post, had to admit the FCC records don't show that Jeffries received any donations from Epstein, and that they couldn't produce any proof that Epstein even responded to the offer from that DNC-linked firm. But they buried this admission at the bottom of their story. That's a favorite white media trick, by the way, because most people only skim the headlines on a story. The white media knows that. That's what most people do. They only look at the headlines. Most of them don't actually read the stories. That's why the white media says that most people get their news from social media. By that, what they mean is that most people see a headline or they read a 2-sentence tweet on Twitter and that's it. Whereas if you actually go and read the stories, you'll see that things are exactly the opposite of what the headline said. And this is not to say that Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have had people from, say, the Black Immigrant Caucus or other bad actors who are palling around with them. But my point is, you better believe that the white media is going to put the emphasis on those guys before it decides to lead another lynch mob against some high-profile white man. They don't want that kind of thing to become habit-forming. I'm not trying to be a downer here. I, for one, hope that this turns out to be exactly what people hope that it is, that it's going to be nothing but one high-powered scumbag after the next being exposed, brought down, teed up for prosecution. I hope that's the case. I hope my suspicions are wrong. But again, we've been here before. White power understands that occasionally the public needs to blow off some steam about the excesses of white power, and letting them have some cathartic political theater usually does the trick. Like the same politicians who had previously supported the police wholeheartedly and armed them to the teeth, and then turned right around and pretended to take a knee and acted like they were in solidarity with the Black community during the 2020 uprisings. You know, that kind of cathartic political theater. It's a good thing that a dysfunctional oaf like Trump is president, because if you had a Democrat or Republican establishment figure that was in there, they would die on this hill before relenting. After all, the Democrats didn't try to release the Epstein files when Biden was in office. They could have. Kamala Harris didn't even promise to do it when she was running. A better question would be, why didn't Democrats want to release the Epstein files? Because Bill Clinton was gallivanting around with Epstein. The Epstein files don't lend itself to Democrats getting on a moral high horse, because a hell of a lot of Democrats, like Larry Summers and others, were sitting there staying in regular contact with this man. They were best buds with him, and they didn't care what he did. So we'll see whether or not the Epstein files are actually released, or whether or not there's going to be one courtroom maneuver after the next to try to throw this into years of litigation and stall. Again, Trump could go ahead and just do one executive order and all of this would be released, but he hasn't, and the Democrats aren't demanding that he do so either. So to me, if I had to be a little conspiratorial about it, it just smells as if the fix is already in on this one, that both parties are putting on some political theater and they're seeing whether or not the public is going to eat it up or not. Here's hoping that I'm wrong, but in order for that to happen, white-powered elites would have to basically not be on code with each other. And when they're facing a collective existential crisis like this, where the danger that one of them is exposed to is exposure for them all, well, I'm not holding my breath. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Christopher Ellis, Stephen 12, Anthony Pollard, Troy Joyner, and Ephraim Yashar L. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
Yes, thank you, Professor Black Truth. I'm not holding my breath either, but apparently the dump did sign a bill to release the Epstein files. So we're going to get into that next. Or I'm going to get into it next with some solo dolo this morning.
We do have some major breaking news as we come on the air tonight, because President Trump has now signed the Epstein files bill into law, the final step to force the Justice Department to turn over everything it has on Epstein within the next 30 days. Part of the president's lengthy statement, I'll read it here, where he said, quote, Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats, with an exclamation point, was a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians, and was deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures. The president goes on to write, perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed, because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. Trump says, as everyone knows, I asked Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass this bill in the House and the Senate. That, of course, came after he fought the bill, but he concluded with, this latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats just as all of the rest have. Thank you all for your attention to this matter. Of course, this is the bill that the president spent months trying to kill. He is now taking credit for its passage on Capitol Hill after it became clear that it was going to pass at least the House. While it's a moment that so many of Jeffrey Epstein's survivors that you've heard from here on this show have waited so long for, it is notable the president did not mention the women who fought for this bill's passage in his post tonight. The fact also that the president didn't take the opportunity to sign it today before cameras is notable, given how many bill signings and executive orders he has regularly turned into lengthy Oval Office events and press conferences. We did hear from the Attorney General on this matter earlier. Pam Bondi was asked multiple times how her department plans to handle this process of turning over these materials to Congress, given the massive amount of data on Epstein that the Justice Department has.
Does the new investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all of the remaining files?
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency.
What are you doing here over the next 30 days, as we understand it?
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
When you say follow the law, Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Now, Attorney General Bondi declined to give any explanation on how the plan to follow the law is any different from what the department has been doing already, especially given it was just 2 months ago when the FBI director told Congress this about those same Epstein files in their possession.
We have released where President Trump's name's in the Epstein files and everybody else, and all credible information that we are legally allowed to release has been released. Pursuant to Mr. Acosta's collection of information based on the search warrants. That's all we have in our possession.
And I'm asking you, that stuff.
That's all we got. We are releasing as much as legally allowed. We are providing everything we can legally provide.
The Attorney General did try to explain why, just months after her department declared that there was no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. She announced those very investigations that President Trump demanded last week.
What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information. And again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads.
That would seem to differ from what the president has been saying over the course of the last few months, as his team has been trying to make the entire Epstein saga go away.
It's really a Democrat hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. I call it the Epstein hoax.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
The whiplash over Trump, Bondi, and Patel's hyping and then downplaying and then hyping again the Epstein investigations is even being felt by some of the president's biggest supporters in MAGA.
I heard it's a hoax. And then all of a sudden he's going to release the files. Well, I thought there was no files.
Man.
He wants an investigation now.
Listen.
Like, what is going on?
This is the end of the Trump administration. This is the beginning of the lame duck presidency. It's obvious to everyone he will trail off. He will get older. He's adorned the White House in gold. Epstein's going to suck the oxygen out of a lot of this.
I want to start tonight with CNN's senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez, who is among those questioning the attorney general today. And Evan, I think she said multiple times they're going to follow the law. What stood out to you being inside that room today with Pam Bondi?
I think the whiplash that they are feeling in that building, because they really have stuck their necks out to try to defend the president in the sense that, they've gone out and they said, there's nothing to see here. We've closed the books. And then they were trying to persuade members of Congress. You reported this, right? Lauren Boebert and among others.
To strong-arm them.
Yes, that's another way to say it. But certainly they were there to persuade them to say, look, if there's stuff you want to see and for us to brief you on, We're here to do that. And then, the president goes out and says, we want a new I want another investigation. And they do that. And then he sort of pulls the rug from out of under them on Sunday by saying, okay, now vote for this bill that he was using the Justice Department all along to try to fight. So they are feeling the whiplash, and now they're kind of left in a very difficult place. Pam Bondi is now, obviously there is an investigation, and so she has to navigate how to release documents within those 30 days that they're going to comply with the law, but also satisfy the rules that are, you cannot release documents that may be relevant to an ongoing investigation.
Well, and so the president signed it today. 30 days from today would be December 18th. And so do we have any idea what the Justice Department's game plan is in terms of what they're going to release if they have more than 300 gigabytes of data and material?
Well, one of the things that we know is that some of the documents have already been redacted. So for instance, to remove the names of victims, anything that would harm victims has already been done. The big question is, can they release documents related to some of the uncharged people who associated with Epstein, but who are not accused of any wrongdoing? There is a law that is supposed to protect their privacy. And so that's kind of the big difference here. Some of the documents, the kind of things that you saw this week that were released by the Democrats, right? And obviously Larry Summers is an example of what happens. Those people still associated with Epstein, even though he had been convicted in Florida, continue to communicate with him. They're not accused of any wrongdoing. And so now all of those communications, I think, are fair game to be released.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I think Mike Johnson was one of the leading voices saying that other people could get swept up in this, potentially just be embarrassed by this. I mean, Larry Summers, it's reporting tonight, he's not going to be teaching at Harvard anymore while he's under investigation. That's according to the Harvard Crimson. But I mean, that is exactly what the president is pointing to in his very lengthy post tonight, as he's saying, this is going to be way worse for Larry Summers and for Democrats than for me. I mean, he seems to want that information to come out.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't know, because there are going to be mentions of President Trump in these additional documents. We know that is actually one of the problems here for him. And but the issue is, are there other people who, again, have not been credibly accused of any wrongdoing, and do their lives get upended in that? And you could argue, right, that if you knew he was a convicted sex offender, it happens, you knew what was going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Evan Perez, thank you for that.
So these damn Democrats, they done shot themselves in the foot. They're so desperate to get Trump impeached that they thought, oh, this is going to be the nail in the coffin. We'll be able to get him impeached. No, you idiots. You just indicted yourselves. So now this is going to be an investigation. It's going to take a number of years for them to get through this shit. So it's just another stalling tactic. So they're not going to be able to get him out. It's just hilarious that they are so desperate at this point. And they're all guilty. So the research guy is going to show exactly how guilty they are. Bill and Hillary Clinton and their involvement with Epstein. The Epstein nightmare for Bill and Hillary Clinton revealed. Yeah, that's right, B1 Cat. Yeah, the kittens are starting to talk.
Oh no, the House decided to vote to release the Epstein files, and I see how Trump was trying to hide, and how Trump was trying to hide something, and Trump didn't want to release the Epstein files. Well, as soon as Trump said, let's go ahead and have the House, let's get the Republicans to go ahead and cast votes so we can release the Epstein files. Now you have everybody in the world coming with other excuses. Oh, Trump, the only reason why Trump is trying to release it now is because it's been redacted and blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole bunch of rhetoric going on Facebook right now. But we're not talking about one thing. there's one thing we're not talking about, and that is why the Clintons are ducking the House Oversight Committee for their deposition. Why are they ducking? What are they hiding? Because Trump has made it clear that he has nothing to hide. We all know that Trump hung out with Epstein. We all know that Trump was on the flights from New York or from Florida to New York. We know that. But Donald Trump has always stated and maintained his innocence, and there is no proof that Donald Trump actually went to Epstein Island where the actual trafficking was taking place. So there's many theories and many people making up all of these statements, and it's a lot of fake blogs, which I hope that Trump sues a lot of these blogs, because a lot of these people are just taking Donald Trump's name, tying it to Epstein and saying, you know, let's use this for clickbait. That's what they're doing. They're really using it for clickbait. So that's what's going on right now. But I see right now, nobody is talking about Bill and Hillary Clinton. Nobody. And what's crazy about this whole Epstein charade is that you can have 100 Democrats right now, 100 Democrats right now on the Epstein's list, but these Democrats and these liberals only want to see one name, and that is Donald J. Trump. They don't care about anybody else. They just want to be able to nail Trump to say, see, we have something on Trump. And the thing about it is none of the emails actually implicate Trump on any, because my thing is this. Okay, let's say this. I'm sorry, let's retract. So you have the Epstein victims, which I feel for the victims. We want those people to get justice. We all want to see the Epstein files. But here's the problem. You have these victims saying that they're going to make their own list. I understand that, but a list is not going to do anything. What is it going to matter if you make a list? How is that going to help? Because we understand that there are people who hung out with Epstein who's actually innocent. There's innocent people who hung out with Epstein. For instance, you have people in your family who are drug addicts. You have people in your family who are criminals. You have people in your family who are sex offenders. You have people in your family who have committed crime. You've hung out with them. Does that make you any of those things? Absolutely not. So just because you hung out with somebody does not make you the same thing as them. I know they say birds of a feather flock together, but some instances it's just unavoidable. Some instances it's just unavoidable. Donald Trump can't help who he hung out with in the 80s and 90s. He cannot help that. Now, when he found out that Epstein was doing the trafficking, Donald Trump cut him off and he no longer kept ties with Epstein. So this is the thing that people don't talk about. Like I said, it can be 100 names on that list. It can be 100 Democrat names on that list. And all they want to see is one name, but nobody's talking about Hillary and Bill Clinton ducking this deposition. And I want to show you guys something. Okay, watch this. So Newsweek just posted something. This is on newsweek.com. Okay, it says House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer said on Tuesday that former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton could face criminal exposure related to newly surfaced Jeffrey Epstein documents. We expect to hear from Bill and Hillary Clinton, Comer said, on Just the News, No Noise. Says Donald Trump answered questions for years about Jeffrey Epstein. Every day he gets asked questions about Epstein and he answers them in front of the American people. We've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats. So if they've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats, we know the people that were subpoenaed were Hillary and Bill Clinton. Why had they not sat down in front of the House Oversight Committee and told the American people or explained to the American people their involvement with this Epstein charade? If they're not hiding anything. And what's funny is you have the Democrats clamoring, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. And as soon as Trump says, you know what, let's have the Republicans vote. Let's have the Republicans go ahead and vote so we can release it. Then the Democrats change their tune. Well, I see why Trump is trying to get it released now, because it's been redacted. That's the word they're using. It's been redacted. When you guys actually, do you know what redacted means? We're going to show you on screen what redacted actually means so you guys can get an understanding, because obviously you don't understand what redacted means. The word redact means to edit text for publication purposes. And it's also for legal purposes. It has to be redacted. Everything, redact doesn't mean removed. It means they have to change something for legal purposes. There's people there and information there that their lawsuits can happen. If you don't redact it, lawsuits can take place because everybody doesn't want their information out. Everybody doesn't want their information in these publications. You have to get a permission from these people in order to put their information out. So everybody's not going to just agree with what's being written or things that are being published. So they have to redact these articles and these documents and all of these things for safety purposes or legal action. It does not mean it's been removed out, because if that was the case, we would not have seen Donald Trump's name in any document if it's been redacted. To the way you guys are claiming, oh, it's been redacted to try to not implicate. Well, Trump already has not been implicated in anything. There's no cases against Trump for trafficking at all. And if you guys can show me that, then we can, I'll cash app you $10,000 if you can prove to me that Trump was involved in any trafficking. Show me that part. That's the part you guys don't understand. So you keep throwing this word redacted around as if it's implicating Trump being guilty of something. You guys just want to be able to drag this man and pull this man down for whatever reason. You have no real reason. You just don't like Trump. There's nothing. If Trump was implicated in these files, you truly believe that Donald Trump would say, you know what? Let's go ahead and have the Republicans to cast a vote so they can release the Epstein files. Now, there was one Republican that, again, goes back to my redact situation. There was one Republican, Clay Higgins, who voted no, and he explained himself. He explained why he voted no for the same reason here, for redact purposes, for legal purposes. You want to protect the victims. You want to protect the victims. And I see the victims are saying that they're going to compile their own list. That list is not going to do anything. We want to know, and I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is just compiling a list is not going to do anything. We want to know exactly who was doing the trafficking. We want to know who are the criminals. That's what we want to know. Who committed crime? Because again, there's people who's hung out with Jeffrey Epstein who's absolutely innocent. Just because you hang out with a person who's committed a crime or who committed a crime in the past does not make you a criminal yourself. So just compiling a list saying, well, this person hung out with Jeffrey Epstein and this person. No, we want to know the people who went to the actual island. We want to know the people who were involved in the actual criminal activity. That's what we want to know. That is the most important thing. And I do hope that these victims get justice, by the way. I am all for releasing every single file of the Epstein files. I am all for it. And I want these women to get justice, absolutely. But we have to do it the right way and not using Donald Trump's name and other people's name who you're attaching to these this Epstein just for clickbait. But watch this. Let's go to X. This is a Republican, Anna Luna. She wrote on X, Bill and Hillary Clinton are refusing to appear before House oversight for their depositions regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Notice how Democrats suddenly have nothing to say about it. Not one single Democrat has come out to say, that's kind of suspicious. That's suspicious that, Hillary and Bill Clinton they're refusing to show up for their depositions to be questioned in front of the American people. That doesn't look suspicious to you, yet you claim Donald Trump is being suspicious or trying to hide something, yet Donald Trump is the one who called for the Republicans to actually release the files. And now Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are ducking their depositions. No outrage at all. Not one single Democrat says, I think that that's something going on there, that is suspicious. Not one. But when it came to Donald Trump, you guys wanted to drag Donald Trump all over social media. Go to Facebook right now. You will see Donald Trump being dragged on social media. He's this, he's that, he's guilty, he's that. It's crazy to me. It is absolutely crazy to me how these people will flip the script at any moment. And okay, watch this. Let's get this part. Okay, let's get this part. Stacey Plaskett, let's get her. Let's show you this because nobody talks about this either. What about these documents? Now, this is well after Jeffrey Epstein was considered a predator, because this was in what, 2018? Why is this Democrat Stacey Plaskett wanting to meet up with Jeffrey Epstein? This is after he was a predator. She wrote in the email, if you would share this invitation with Jeffrey, I'd be much appreciative. I will be grateful for his support and the support of those that he may direct to assist me. I'll be in New York City the Thursday of the event through the weekend. This is Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat, trying to meet up with Jeffrey Epstein after he's been considered a predator. Why don't they show you this? No outrage from the Democrats at all. Oh, they just want to point out Donald Trump. But I'm glad the Republicans pointed this out, and I'm glad they brought this out on the floor so people can see exactly what's happening. And I truly believe that there are going to be a lot of Democrats that are going to be exposed in these files. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And I hope now that it's gone to the Senate, I hope the Senate votes yes to get it released, because we want to see it. The world wants to see it. The American people deserve to see it. I don't care who's on the list. And trust me, one thing about myself, I don't care who is on the list. If there's corrupt Republicans on the list, I'm going to call them out. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. I don't care. If you had any involvement in trafficking or any involvement in doing any harm to these victims, I'm going to call you out. I don't care if you're the president. I don't care if you're the vice president. I don't care if you're a congresswoman, a senator. I don't care if you're a governor, mayor. I don't care. If you had any type of involvement in trafficking or harming these victims, I will call you out. And everybody should have that same type of mindset, because it does not matter. It is a balance of good and evil. Which side are you on? Because at the end of the day, we should be on God's side. So if it's something that these people did that's unholy, we call it out. 1 Timothy 5:20 says you're supposed to stand up and you're supposed to rebuke them before all, so others may hear. We're supposed to rebuke people and let them know, listen, you've done wrong. You're in the midst of sin, and we're going to tell the world so everybody else can see that this is the consequence and what we're going to do if we catch anybody in this type of activity. And that's the problem, and that's how we have to keep it. We have to make sure we maintain the same type of mentality for everybody all across the board. But I want to get the speaker, Mike Johnson. He's going to share with you, and this is another thing. You have Democrats who's trying to block this thing from coming out. It's watch. We're just gonna let Mike Johnson speak to show you guys, because this is another reason why I know the Democrats are hiding something. Watch.
And they're going to move it forward anyway. So all the people of good conscience here say, we've registered our concerns. We stated our opposition as long as possible, but we're also for maximum transparency. So what am I to do as a leader in a situation like this? I call my counterpart in the Senate, Leader Thune, and I talked him through this with him and shared our deep concerns. And of course, they share those concerns as well. And so I'm very confident that when this moves forward in the process, if and when it is processed in the Senate, which there's no certainty that that will be, that they will take the time methodically to do what we have not been allowed to do in the House, to amend this discharge petition and to make sure that these protections are there. The authors of the discharge did not allow us to do that here. That's the rules here. But in the Senate, they can correct it. So under that circumstance, because of that, we know there's serious deficiencies. We know that the work of our colleagues in the Senate can address that and will. They're very conscientious and concerned, as we are, about all this. As we've insisted from the very beginning, Republicans have the only party trying to make a material difference in ensuring maximum transparency. Oh, by the way, I'll just tell you, I put the bill on the floor for unanimous consent last Wednesday night. And guess who objected to it? The Democrats. Okay. If this is so urgent and they were so concerned about getting this done and seeing justice be done and all that, they would not have blocked the request. Okay. This is about politics. They blocked our unanimous consent.
Hold on. I want to say this too. I want to say this as well. It is a situation where you cannot please these people. You cannot. The moment Donald Trump said, I'm going to have the Republicans do a vote so they can release the Epstein files. The moment he said that, all the liberals came in the comments, oh, it's been redacted, blah, blah, blah. You cannot, listen, you cannot please these people. You cannot. So, Mr. President Trump, do not pay these people any mind. You cannot please these people. They don't want to be pleased. These people do not want to be pleased because anything you do, they're going to go against it. First, they say, release the Epstein files. He's hiding something. He says, okay, let's release them. Oh, well, you're releasing them now because they've been redacted. Then if they find out, if they go through the emails, every single page and see that there's nothing incriminating Trump, they will still not give him his credit, and they will still find a way to try to make it into a negative situation. Have you guys noticed that the Democrats are only anti-Trump? They're only pro-hate Trump. You never hear anything about the Democrats doing anything or trying to help better America. You only hear them hating Trump. That's it. I have, since Trump has been elected, I have not heard one single thing that the Democrats have done to help better America. Not one thing. It's been all Trump hate, 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 hate. TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. That's what it's been the entire time. Period.
Sent motion to expedite their bill and made us waste all this additional time so they could have a show vote today. Republicans are ready to get the job done, to move forward so we can continue to get onto these important issues of dealing with what the American people demand and deserve for us to deal with. And so I want to leave you with this thought. Everybody should think long and hard about who here is acting truthfully, honestly, and in good faith. It is not the Democrat Party that has obfuscated and blatantly lied for the last 4 years about all these things. It is not the Democrats who shut down the government for their own selfish political purposes. It is not the Democrats who blocked the passage of this discharge a week ago because they wanted to have a political moment. It is the Republicans who are acting in good faith, and I believe the American people are going to see that and understand it.
Listen, I just want to know, do you guys think that the Clintons are hiding something? Because again, my whole purpose is I want you guys to see, because at the end of the day, we need to see and understand why these people are refusing to sit in front of the American people. You guys will always try to pull Donald Trump and make him go on all these shows, 60 Minutes, whatever show you want him to go on to talk, and you will grill him and ask him all of these unfair questions. And you guys want to see it so you can humiliate him. Just so you can say, oh, Trump is this and Trump is that, and make memes and all of these other things. Yet Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are refusing. This is very, very suspicious. This is very suspicious. If Donald Trump can do it, the Clintons can do it. Why are the Democrats not pushing for? Because guess what? The Republicans and the conservatives, we're pushing to see the Epstein files. Why can't you push Hillary and Bill Clinton to go sit down in front of the House Oversight Committee so they can be questioned in front of the American people? That's what we want to see. They need to explain their involvement with this Epstein charade. They need to explain that to the American people, and they need to do it expeditiously. So, you guys, God bless you all for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for tuning in.
The dumpster supporter, the research guy got a point. Like, why are they ducking and dodging? Why are Hillary's ducking and dodging? What are they trying to hide? Could there possibly be some involvement with sex trafficking and human trafficking? Ooh, the plot just continues to thicken. So they wanted these damn files released, and now the Democrats is having second thoughts because a lot of them is going to be in them damn files. So I'm with him on this. I don't care who is involved. We're going to put them on blast. Democrat, Republican, whatever. If they in these goddamn files and they had involvement with human trafficking and sex trafficking, then they need to be exposed. Period. And in a perfect world, they would get stoned to death or murked. But in this case, they would probably get jail time or prison time. We'll keep y'all updated on it. Dump has signed it in the law, so the investigation has begun. So we'll keep you posted. In other news, Chicago family's mother attacked by students. So first, Uncle Phil gonna give us an update on that. Then Professor Blacc Truth gonna follow up. And I think I got one more video lined up for that. Amara, what in the hell are you doing? What are you doing, Amara? I hear Amara. Okay. The B1 cats are definitely active this morning. Put this next video on. Franciscan Health Hospital sends pregnant Black woman away, and her husband had to deliver the baby 8 minutes later. And then they gave birth to a beautiful Black baby girl. So Uncle Phil will give us an update on that, and then Professor Blacc Truth is going to follow up with it. Hey, Amaru, you want to say hi to the people? Look, he just hopped up here like, hey, I'm here. I'm here.
You know, in America, Black people are a lot of times in danger. Now, they say that one of the greatest threats, and to Black women, one of the greatest threats would be the hospital. Case in point, I want you to look what happens to this Black woman out of Chicago when she goes to the hospital to have her baby because she's having contractions 1 minute apart. Look at the egregious behavior of this hospital.
This morning, a Chicago woman is demanding answers from a hospital she says discharged her while she was in labor. 38-year-old Mercedes Wells says she was having contractions 1 minute apart and knew the baby was coming, but a nurse sent her home.
I was in excruciating pain. She seen me in pain and agony, and I guess she still perceived me to not be in labor.
The family sharing this video of Wells being wheeled out of the hospital. She then gave birth 8 minutes later in her truck on the side of the highway, her husband delivering their baby himself.
It's totally God's grace. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I don't have any medical license or anything to deliver a baby.
Wells says she spent 6 hours at the hospital but never saw a doctor. She blames racial discrimination.
I was stripped of my dignity as a person because I was treated less than an animal.
Can we agree that a woman in active labor should not be sent away while first being seen by a doctor?
The CEO of Franciscan Health Crown Point Hospital responding, saying, the video and the comments it has generated are deeply troubling, and we understand the concern this is raised. The video is just one part of the information we are reviewing as part of a thorough investigation into this alleged incident. The good news, the couple says their baby daughter, Alina, is healthy and doing well.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard, this sister was 1 minute apart and they still sent her home. Now, anybody who have half a brain would say, no, this woman's about to have a baby. We need to see what's going on with her, get her comfortable, call her doctor, and see if they can hurry up and get up here to deliver this baby. You understand? Another thing that happens to Black women, they give them a lot of unnecessary C-sections. They don't need to give Black women. Why? So they can charge more money. See, the hospital system, the healthcare system in itself in America is anything that's private, it's all about profits. That's why if you nationalize the healthcare, nationalize all the hospitals, and it's subsidized by the government, and the private sector don't have to worry about profits because, hey, the government gonna pay us. We're not worried about it, right? That'll be a whole lot better because we've been needing a national health care anyway. This is the reason why a lot of Black women are passing away. It's things like this. You remember the other story there where I think out in the Dallas area, not mistaken, but that sister was in pain and the woman's worried about filling out paperwork, something that's easily can be done. And she don't care how that sister was in pain. This brother had to deliver his child himself in the car. He's not medically trained to deliver any babies, but yet that's what he had to do. And shout out to that brother. That's an experience to tell your child. And the baby's beautiful. The baby is so beautiful. But this is why we need more Black nurses. And this is why we need to have them ASAP. We got enough of, we don't need no more female rappers. We need Black woman nurses. We got to have that. Because, you know, good and well, if there was a Black woman up there, that wouldn't happen. We see so many horror stories where Becky and them nurses attached to it. They go in there with their racism because they still think that Black people can take more pain than anybody else. Oh, well, she's all right. She can take the pain. A lot of these people are racist, and they should not be nowhere near us in healthcare. That's why it's dangerous for Black people in general. Certain hospitals you better not go to, and most Black people are like, don't go to that hospital. Please don't take me to this hospital. It should never be that way. It should be, if you need your health care in the United States, you can go to any hospital and you'll be treated right. But see, our federal government don't care. Because, you know, good and well, if federal regulators was constantly going in there and listen, you know how we have the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? We need the same thing for the healthcare and hospitals. That you can make a complaint to the federal government about doctors, nurses, and hospitals, and they got to go investigate it. I promise you, if they start investigating these hospitals, popping up on them and all of that and doing all the kind of checks, and hey, if they did something criminal, then people get charged. If they did something civil or whatever, they have to pay fines. But if they start going through these hospitals and checking them, make sure they're up to compliance with the feds and the state, they would not be doing this. You wouldn't have no quote unquote bad hospitals. And the ones that bad need to be shut down. And another one need to come in this place that's going to do the right thing. But there's so many stories over the years I've covered where they had a Black one time was having a flare up with her sickle cell. She was in pain. She needed medication. And they didn't want to give it to her. They downright mean and evil. Who would do that? I can give you medication for your pain. I'm going to give it to you. I'm not going to have you sit there. Why? First of all, I'm not going to be listening to you scream when I know I can give you something for comfort. I'm like, why would I do that? But these people within their sick hearts, they love to see Black people in pain. They get off to it. They love it. This is why they always want to call us the N-word and see us crash out. They get off to seeing us some sort of emotional pain or physical pain. Only those who have something that's not in them of this world could enjoy the pain of Black people or the pain of anybody. That's not normal. That's not godly or anything. You feel me? Black people, we really have to be careful. Make sure you know what hospital you're going to. Make sure it's a good, you know, like, listen, you got to just do what you got to do. Because it's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous what happens to a lot of Black women die trying to have children because of incidents like that. They die. Or unnecessary C-sections and a complication happened and they die. But when white women go to the same hospital, listen, it's one thing if that hospital was doing that to everybody. That's one thing. But a white woman go to the same hospital and get top care, no problem. And a black woman go to the same hospital and it's a black woman, whatever. That's why you need federal regulations. That's why you need federal laws to clamp down on that. Nobody, when they come to the hospital, it's not about nobody's race or gender or sexual orientation or religion. It's not about any of that. It's about making sure that person that came through that door leave out how they came in much better. When they come in here, they may feel one way. When they leave out, they're gonna feel so much better. That is the thing. We don't want people coming in here and not going back home. But that's actually when you actually care about people. These people's racism, if you read Neely Fuller, he'll say that every area activity the white supremacists control, and that's include medical. That's why us as black people, we gotta try our best to stay healthy and stay out their system. But I understand we have children. That's normal. This is a married couple. No woman should be treated that way, and the black woman constantly being treated this way. See, as black people, we talking about reparations and anti-black hate crime bill, but we need some protections in the hospital too. We can wrap it into whatever how you want to wrap it into, inform it the way you want to form it, but we need that. Not giving us pain meds when we need it, send us home when we should be staying. That should be criminal to do that to anybody. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this particular story. You know, black women, definitely black women have to be loud about it. Instead of Jasmine Crockett running around doing the stupidity she's doing, why don't she run around advocating for black women? Where's Jasmine Crockett since she likes to talk? Why don't she go to Chicago and raise hell in Chicago on those Democrats over there about that black woman? That's when you have a real congressional black caucus. All this stuff happened to black women, and the congressional black caucus don't say nothing about it. Nothing. Why do y'all even have a caucus for if you're not going to say nothing about what happens to black men and women in this country? That's why I'm all for that congressional black caucus being busted up. Because they all Stephen from the plantation on Django. All of them. They there to maintain the plantation and maintain the status quo. And any black person that comes to disrupt that how Stephen was against Django, how he couldn't stand Django. He hated Django. That's how they are against the rest of us in black America. It's a sin and a shame. A congressional black caucus that don't advocate for black people. And that's why we got to call these people out and get these people out of office. If you're not going to advocate for black people, what are you there for? You need to go so another black person come in and going to actually advocate for our people.
I agree wholeheartedly with everything Uncle Phil said. Yeah, definitely just ban that congressional black caucus. Like them much don't do us no good. They don't represent our best interests at all. And we've shown and proved on Front Line Blacc News and Shabaka Black Experience Enhanced that they're nothing but tools of racism, white supremacy. The boule controls the CDC. The boule consists of the CDC. So it's mainly boule that be bigging these mugs up. Every year, me and Lady Chick go to this Carl Black Round Table event, and all you hear is boule this and boule that, and seaweed this and belt to that, and all that bullshit. And these mugs ain't doing us no good. So they need to be disbanded. And as for them hospitals, they need to be sued big time. Shout out to Don Panique. She won her lawsuit. She won $20 million from malpractice from UC Health. Ironically enough, the same hospital that caught themselves treating Lady Che. So they need to be sued as well for their treatment of Lady Che and their treatment of me. I was treated horribly in that hospital. And then I was just there to visit. And they had whole security come in and get me out. So yeah, to hell with UC Health, to hell with all these health departments, these hospitals. They're not doing nothing to help Black people, then to hell with them. And shout out to the family for giving birth to that baby, beautiful baby girl, despite them getting kicked out before the mother went into full labor and delivered the baby. Shout out to the daddy for delivering the baby under those circumstances. And Professor Blacc is going to go even more in depth in this. Black babies and mothers targeted by racist physicians. Hospital throws out Black mom in labor. And have to give birth to the child in the truck.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth.
Right now. Is your What? How many times have you been pregnant? 3. This is your 3rd pregnancy? Yes. You have 2 babies It's at in home? my ass. You have 2 babies at home? Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor. Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the Black ones?
Beverly, this is the first time I've vision for you. Last name is Jones. She's G3P2. I'm not sure what her due date is.
Her due date
I
is
just said
the
it
10th.
was the 10th. Her due date is the 10th.
She got 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home. I bet y'all listen next time. When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors. Everybody say how they treat people here.
The first part of this morning's briefing originates in Greg Abbott's Texas. The white woman in this video is LaChrista Vaughn. She is, or perhaps was, a registered nurse at Dallas Regional Medical Center. And as you saw, she totally ignored the excruciating pain that this Black woman, Carrie Jones, was in. Now, Miss Jones is the mother of 2 children at the time of this video, and she was in labor with her 3rd. She was only minutes away from delivering, but Vaughn was acting as if she was there for the common cold. And that's not because she didn't know. Obviously she did. And even her mother is saying, do you treat everyone like this or just the Black patients? Less than 15 minutes later, Miss Jones delivered a baby boy. And from the video, she, the mother, and the grandmother appeared to be well. Now, you got to keep an eye on cases like this, because keep in mind, when pregnant women are put through unnecessarily traumatic birthing processes like the one you just saw, what happens is there can be major problems for them that they're not immediately aware of. And the same goes for the child. Now, you won't be surprised to learn that this isn't the first time that this Vaughn woman was caught doing mess like this. In 2023, she did pretty much the same thing, only this time with a Black male patient.
You can go ahead and turn your phone off too, please.
I can record. I'm in a public place.
Everything that you're doing.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. Yeah, look at the treatment.
So that's at least 2 documented incidents this woman's been involved in. You heard what she was saying. Turn off the camera, as if she has some sort of control over that. That means she knows exactly what she's doing. She didn't want anybody having this moment preserved for posterity's sake. Now, there have been people who have said that this Vaughn creep has been fired, that she lost her state license and all the rest of it. But there's also people saying that she hasn't been fired. And Dallas Regional Medical Center hasn't confirmed either way. I haven't been able to verify it either. And in Greg Abbott's Texas, I'd say it's even money whether this heifer is still working in the same place that she was. The chances are excellent that she could very well still be employed there, or she's been transferred quietly somewhere else. We know how white supremacy does it. Whether it's the police or racist teachers or racist medical practitioners, these people don't get fired, they just get transferred. And this is yet another example of how the problem isn't that these medical practitioners are not trained how to treat Black patients. The problem is this is how they're trained to treat Black patients. They are taught to ignore Black people in clear medical distress. They are taught to ignore and disregard their own medical knowledge and training, but only when it relates to Black patients. If you're dealing with a Black patient, well, there's nothing wrong with them. This is an opportunity for you to get away with something. The problem isn't that they don't know what to do. It's that this is what they have decided they're going to do when the patient is Black. And it's not just the racist nurses and doctors. It's also the administrators and the lawmakers as well. How many times have we caught some white racist running for political office and it turned out they were a medical doctor? These murders aren't happening in a vacuum. It's happening because it's sanctioned and protected by the state. And in many cases, these racist physicians go from killing Black patients in medical offices to killing Black patients in political offices. But this incident with this Vaughn woman, that's not the reason that I made this the subject of this morning's briefing. There was another case far more egregious that will make your blood boil. Yes, it's going to be that kind of morning briefing. This was DeMarcus Page. He was only 2 years old. He was brought to Advent Health Ocala Hospital in March 1st, 2024. This is in Ron DeSantis' Florida. At the time, he was diagnosed with a virus and dangerously low levels of potassium. He was given intravenous fluids to help with his low electrolyte levels, and the next morning he was transferred to Shands Teaching Hospital and Clinics in Gainesville, Florida. He was then administered electrolyte replacement therapy, but the next day, a Dr. Jiabi Chen unconscionably ordered that the boy be given 10 times the level ordered the previous day, which had been calculated based on his size, weight, and that day's lab results. Chen errantly ordered the extremely high dosage, deleting a critical decimal point in the day's prior dosage of 1.5 millimoles, now ordering the liquid supplement to be given at 15 millimoles twice a day. This was on top of the 2 other forms of potassium that DeMarcus was already receiving through IV and Pedialyte. And before anyone tries to claim, well, this was just one negligent doctor, nobody else on the medical team or the pharmacist caught the error, despite a red flag warning in the hospital's pharmacy system that alerted them to the excessive dosage. So as you see, the doctor gave what she should have known was too high a dosage. But even the hospital's own pharmacy computer system alerted them that the dosage was too high, and yet this got overlooked by multiple people. On March 3rd, 2024, DeMarcus went into cardiac arrest caused by that overdose. But the malpractice didn't even stop there, because the staff bungled the response and carried out 2 to 3 failed attempts to intubate DeMarcus. And there were at least 20 minutes that passed since the code blue was called, during which time he remained severely deprived of oxygen. This led to the baby suffering a massive brain injury, forcing him to spend the next 2 weeks enduring a horrific and protracted hospital course on a ventilator with nothing but seizures going on before finally being taken off life support. Can you imagine what it must be like for that family to have brought their child in alive and then be in a situation where they had to say, end this child's life? His family is suing, but they shouldn't have to, because there's no reason that that child should be dead. Across the board, you had one reckless and malignant actor after the next. The wrong dosage prescribed, the pharmacy staff ignoring the computer warning, the child goes into cardiac arrest and they failed to intubate him, and their response was so slow that he suffered brain death from lack of oxygen. That Chen woman should be charged. All of them should be charged, because what happened to that baby wasn't just an error. It cost that child his life. People are supposed to go to prison when that happens. And before anyone tries to claim, well, that's just too unlikely, prosecutors never go after these medical practitioners. A few years ago, a white nurse in Tennessee, whose name was ironically Redonda Vaught, very similar to that Vaughn heifer. This woman was convicted of criminally negligent homicide after giving an elderly patient the wrong medication that resulted in the patient's death. Now, the hospital's report to the medical examiner didn't mention that she gave the wrong medication. Instead, the hospital report told the medical examiner that the patient had died of natural causes. They didn't even make out a sentinel report. A sentinel report is supposed to be created whenever a patient safety event results in death, permanent, or severe temporary harm. And it's federally required, but it didn't happen in that case. Normally, these kind of things get swept under the rug, but in this case, amazingly, it didn't. Redonda was put on trial and given 3 years probation, which is a joke, but at least there was a trial and a conviction. But even this nothing burger was too much for the white media and even for the government, because the National Institutes of Health website republished an article about the Vaught case entitled "Criminal Prosecution of Clinician Errors, a Setback to the Progress Towards Safe Hospital Work Environments." They actually had the nerve to republish that, and amazingly, somebody actually had the nerve to write it. So there's people apparently who think that holding medical murderers responsible for killing people is a setback of some sort. A setback to what? This is what somebody thinks makes for a safe environment, not punishing people like that? No, allowing these killers to remain on the loose, that's what makes hospitals deadly. But this is the kind of propaganda that the government signal boosts. They defend killers and criminals and then claim that punishing them makes you less safe. Kind of reminds you how the white media tried to spread hysteria after Judge Aaron Persky was successfully recalled and removed from office after he refused to punish Brock Turner. The white media said that that recall election would result in black defendants receiving harsher sentences because now judges would be terrified not to throw the book at somebody because of fear of public backlash. Of course, as I've documented for you over the years, that didn't happen at all. It was all about protecting white immunity from law. That's what the real problem was. And the same thing goes for the pathetic attempt to push hysteria about punishing medical malpractice. When someone's life and death is in your hands, or the life of your loved ones in their hands, it's not too much to ask that they pay attention. After all, these people love to brag that they're professionals. And in the case of that Vaughn degenerate in Dallas, to actually expect them to do their jobs. But you see that both the white media and the government are on the same page about covering for and protecting criminals. Ask yourself why. This wasn't just negligence. It's the typical contempt for black life that permeates the so-called healthcare industry like it does every other aspect of life in America. How many other black babies have died at that hospital and elsewhere from exactly this kind of contempt for black life? Even the babies aren't safe. What happened to DeMarcus Page makes me furious. And that racist puke in Dallas ignoring that black woman's suffering, and she's literally only minutes from giving birth, that should be a crime. This is why the black maternal and infant mortality rates are sky high, higher than any other group. It's not because of black women. It's not because of black children. It's because of anti-black racists in these hospitals. They always love to try to put it off on black people and say, well, you know, you people are predisposed to this or predisposed to that. No, what we are predisposed to is becoming targets of racists who have been placed in every influential sector of the society. These are not failures of the system. This is the system working exactly the way it's designed. Black patients are systematically denied health care by these racist doctors and nurses. This is why both white and black patients go to the same hospitals, are seen by the same medical staff, but one of them gets treatment while the other one dies. Whether it be DeMarcus Page or Miss Jones, either of these atrocities should have been all over the news. Instead, they're ignored, except for social media. And as the black media, the incident in Dallas is particularly egregious because I've told you about how we have people who subscribe to my channel who listen to me, people right here, people who live in Texas, and as I documented for you on this channel, their babies died because of a mess like this. And the system has been set up to deliberately deny black victims any legal recourse. The black maternal and infant mortality rates are sky high for a reason, and this is the reason why. White people tell us that these are all just a series of mistakes. No. When you keep repeating a mistake after being told about it, that's not a mistake anymore, that's a decision. And it's one that should carry consequences, severe consequences. Now, I know that my next remarks are going to kind of hit a little note, but I have to say it anyway. We have people who have pushed for laws regarding protecting black hairstyles, the so-called Crown Act. I don't have a problem with that, by the way. I'm fine with it. We know that these racist teachers in these schools mess with black children about their hair as a form of racial harassment. You had black lawmakers, particularly black female lawmakers, who were only too happy to jump in front of the cameras about that. Not facing harassment in school or the workplace over one's hair is absolutely valid. But don't you think that this is a far more important subject to have legislation about? This is why I can't stand these black politicians. And by the way, I don't mind that people call what happens to us medical apartheid, but I would say that it's kind of a misnomer. Apartheid would be if black patients got inferior health care. What happens to black people is we don't get health care at all. This is about denying black people medical care based solely on race, and that's what makes it genocide, not apartheid. There's 3 things human beings absolutely must have to survive: food, shelter, and medicine. Because everyone has to eat, Everyone needs shelter from the elements, and everyone gets sick. Deny people any one of those three things, and you've cut their lives short. And in the case of medical care, if they're denied medicine, they die instantly. Just out of curiosity, has even one Democrat brought this up? Even one? Has Kamala Harris ever mentioned it? Did Barack Obama ever campaign on it when he was talking about Obamacare? How about Bernie Sanders or Biden or Jasmine Crockett or any of them? Even one? You've got Black mothers and Black babies being killed every single day in these hospitals, and not one of these Democrats has proposed any legislation about it. In fact, they won't even talk about it, won't even mention it. Democrats ought to be using their positions the way that people like Trump do. Go ahead and weaponize the federal budget against these places. Hospitals where Black mothers and babies die at higher rates than everybody else should be denied any sort of federal funding. But more than that, there need to be federal cases put on these people, and there also need to be every kind of federal regulator all over them. That's what's supposed to happen. Let these bastards know you're not going to be rewarded with federal money for killing Black mothers and Black babies. Instead, you're going to prison for it. We're going to cut you off. And how much you want to bet that if the federal government actually did that and started intentionally cutting these hospitals off for funding and made it clear to everyone the reason these guys are getting cut off is because of the outrageously high Black maternal and infant mortality rates, if that was what was being said, how much you want to bet that these hospitals would suddenly find ways to stop Black mothers and their babies from dying right in front of them? How much you want to bet that the next time a piece of trash like Christa Vaughn comes along, that she would find herself getting kicked out? She probably wouldn't even get hired at all. They would all of a sudden be much more circumspect about who they put on the payroll. People like to say that reparations is too far-fetched to happen, which means that these are people who are waiting on some white folks to advocate for it first before they say anything. But what about this? What about legislation that provides protection for Black patients and legal punishments and remedies for this medical genocide that we're being subjected to? Everyone else gets laws specifically for themselves. Asians got a hate crime law, even though at no time before, during, or since had Asians ever been the majority of hate crimes victims. Go back and check the stats. When you had all of that Stop Asian Hate hysteria from 2020 until Biden signed that legislation in 2021, the very next year, you look at the FBI stats and it's nothing but Black people who are the majority of hate crimes victims. So where was a law for us? There wasn't one, and nobody even talked about one, not even your Black politicians. I say that for the cowards and mental midgets who try to tell us that the problem is that the policies that we demand are somehow too far-fetched and too unrealistic. No, the problem is that the same way these racist white hospital personnel deliberately lie and deny us medical care is the exact same way these racist politicians lie and deny us the policies we're owed. To enact legislation to enable people and prosecutors to go after these hospital homicides, that wouldn't cost any money. Isn't the main argument against reparations that it's allegedly just too expensive? It costs too much money. Nobody's giving Black folks a bunch of money. Okay, well, how about policies to punish murder? That doesn't cost anything. And yet you see the same resistance that we get when it comes to reparations. So the problem isn't the price tag. And yet you got clowns out here who tell us that we're risking our lives if we don't vote for these people who refuse to lift a finger or say a word on our behalf. These Black bootlicks on TV, radio, and the internet, they know what their real job is: to whitewash anti-Black racism and to never put these white politicians on the spot. Shuck and jive. Well, shucking and jiving cost Black people their lives. I know that this is not going to get a lot of views because sadly, Black empowerment is not popular, even among Black people. But we better learn to start making it popular. Whenever I post videos on this subject or anything like it, I notice that it gets a lot less people who watch it. Now, if you're one of the people who's too scared of white disapproval to stand up for reparations, then are you too scared to demand Black healthcare justice? Do you have the nerve to confront these Democrats about that, starting with the Black ones? If we had actual Black political representation and not just some cherry-picked tethers and homegrown sellouts, then they would be stonewalling any and all legislation until this comes to the floor of Congress. You had Step and Fetch It trash in California laughing and smiling in the faces of their own Black voters, mocking their own constituents as they happily blocked a bill pertaining to reparations. Well, those same contemptuous scum are also the reason that you don't have any laws in California that would punish the Christa Vaughns or the Dr. Chens. And yes, I do videos about the Black infant and maternal mortality rates on a regular basis because it matters. And family, I also notice that when I do it, the views are lower than when I'm talking about other subjects. Yeah, I know that it's a downer, but tell me something. Do you think that saying nothing while Black babies and mothers are dying is more optimistic and cheerful? Because I sure don't. The enemy relies on this trait on our part. They watch us. As Brother Khalid Muhammad pointed out, the enemy does all kinds of dirt just to see how we'll react. They're watching us to see where's the limit at? Where's the point at which Black folks will finally do something? And unfortunately, when it comes to how Black people are neglected to death in the healthcare system, our response is practically nothing. What do you think that teaches the enemy? That's why the number of Black people killed in these death chambers that they call hospitals is so high. A cop does it, and you have a person you can point to in a specific manner of death. But if it happens in a hospital, well, that's just natural causes. But we know better. This isn't nature, it's murder, and it's deliberate. And our silence has made hospitals into free fire zones where hundreds of thousands of Black lives can be snuffed out every year, and the murderers are never punished, never charged, and in most cases, never even identified. These are serial killers in these hospitals. That's what they are. And in some cases, the equivalents of mass murderers in these hospitals. And because their victims are Black, they're being protected at every level. No other group would allow this. I know people don't like these kind of videos, which is why you need to see it. I don't do politically oriented entertainment. What I do is a witness and a warning. Too many Black people have made a habit out of ignoring things until it affects them personally. The answer isn't for us to not talk about this. The answer is to get it in people's faces. These racist hospital staff, the white media, these corrupt politicians, that's how you get this mess to stop, by making it clear you're going to drag these killers out into the sunlight and that we're going to expose what they've done. Because this medical genocide is also part of why we are owed reparations. Hundreds of thousands of Black people die every year in this country due to targeted, deliberate, intentional denial of health care. And those Black lives shouldn't be something you can just get to snuff out for free. There has to be a cost that goes along with it, especially for this government that's known about it the whole time and has done nothing about it and said nothing about it. And if this subject matter kind of bums you out and it doesn't necessarily leave you feeling a warm fuzzy, get over it. Overlooking the targeted killing of Black people in these slaughterhouses, people killing Black mothers and even Black babies and not getting so much as charged, that is something that should make you sick. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. BC, Turk McKenzie, TJ, Rebellious Zoe, and Craig Simmons. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
I agree wholeheartedly with everything Professor Blacc said. The medical apartheid continue to treat us horrifically still in 2025. So yeah, I hope all these people that experience this, they sue the hell out these hospitals. They have to make an example of these hospitals. These hospitals don't have to pay big millions, if not billions of dollars for the mistreatment. And like you said, this is why another reason why we are owed reparations in the form of direct lineage-based cash payments for past, present, and future atrocities that have been brought against our people and continue to be brought against our people in 2025, going into 2026, all the way up to 2100, might be extended past 2100. But either way, we are owed. And this is one.
I'm the professor.
Of why we are owed reparations. So I'm actually out of order with the topics, so I do apologize for that. So the next one is about the Crown Heights situation, the Indiana crew, where you're at. And Professor Blacc is going to give us an update on that, his take on it, rather, because I played Phil Scott's take on it, Uncle Phil Scott's take on it. But now we're going to hear from the good professor again about the hospital that throws out Black mom in labor and gives birth in truck.
And this is the moment of truth.
Outrage is growing across the country after a new mom says she was forced to leave a hospital while she was in labor and then ended up giving birth in her car. Now they're calling for accountability and changes in hospital policy. Our Sophie Flay has the details.
A Chicago woman is demanding answers from a hospital she says discharged her while she was in labor. 38-year-old Mercedes Wells says she was having contractions 1 minute apart and knew the baby was coming, but a nurse sent her home.
I was in excruciating pain. She seen me in pain and agony. And I guess she still perceived me to not be in labor.
The family sharing this video of Wells being wheeled out of the hospital. She then gave birth 8 minutes later in her truck on the side of the highway. Her husband delivering their baby himself.
It's totally God's grace. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I don't have any medical license or anything to deliver a baby.
Wells says she spent 6 hours at the hospital but never saw a doctor. She blames racial discrimination.
I was stripped of my dignity as a person because I was treated less than an animal.
Can we agree that a woman in active labor should not be sent away without first being seen by a doctor?
The CEO of Franciscan Health Crown Point Hospital responding, saying, the video and the comments it has generated are deeply troubling, and we understand the concern this has raised. The video is just one part of the information we are reviewing as part of a thorough investigation into this alleged incident. The good news, the couple says their baby daughter, Alina, is healthy and doing well.
As I went through the pain, contractions, it progressed to 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes to 2 minutes apart. The pain got worse and worse. She still came in, checked me again and said I was 3 centimeters still. Regardless of the labor and the pain I was going through, she still said that, oh, I told the doctor that you haven't progressed, so we're going to discharge you. I never seen a doctor. The doctor never showed his face, her face, whoever the doctor is, I don't know. But I never saw anybody, just the nurse. And she told me that they had to send me home.
There's got to be some form of justice here. Legally, what are you thinking?
Well, first and foremost, I'm grateful to be walking this walk with them, despite the fact they should have never been put in this place. What I will say is that they are seeking a meeting like we are asking for with the administration. And at the end of the day, we want to ask about what their protocols and policies are that would allow for them to say that this type of thing was okay. There's no way in the world that you can tell me should have been something that happened, that a woman who is in active labor with her contractions 1 minute apart should be dismissed, and then coupled with that, accompanied by security as they were taken out of the hospital. And 8 minutes later, she gives birth on the side of the road because of that poor decision making. We want a meeting with them so that we can ask them why that happened, how that happened, whether or not they're going to do something to change the protocols that allow that to happen, and whether or not this woman who was the nurse that allowed this to occur has been or is going to be dismissed.
And Mercedes, Cannon, Leon studies have shown that Black maternal health outcomes consistently lag behind those of white women. Mercedes, I want to ask you, what responsibility do hospitals have in providing care to all pregnant women? What do you want to see come out of this and you telling your story?
Listen to the patient, treat people with dignity and respect.
For the handful of people who may have thought that perhaps I was making a tad too much of this the other day, no, I'm not. This happens constantly, all the time. No sooner than you get one story of one of these atrocities, then another comes in. This Black couple went to a hospital because this woman was in the process of giving birth, and the hospital had it where the husband had to argue with them for hours. 6 hours he was arguing with them that his wife needed medical treatment. And here they are saying that she's not far enough along for them to treat her. And they kicked this couple out without them ever having seen a doctor. I'm sure there's some of those crooked doctors there who actually said, go ahead and just throw them out. And while it's good that the family has retained a lawyer, we need to understand something. These incidents are not about money. This is about the lives that this medical genocide costs. Black babies die at a rate several times higher than any other group, and the same goes for Black pregnant mothers. And this is the reason why these things are happening deliberately, intentionally. These racial atrocities happen all the time, but the difference is there's cell phone cameras to document it now. But the goal is not to have a video library of Black mothers and their babies being put at risk. We don't just want documentation, we need action to be taken. And that action means punishment. Criminals who subject Black mothers and their babies to this kind of treatment need to be in a cage. Yes, there do need to be lawsuits, of course, but a civil judgment wouldn't have done this woman any good if she had hemorrhaged to death in that truck, or if their baby had died. And it also needs to be remembered that a large amount of those Black mothers who die after one of these incidents occurs after they gave birth, not on the day of. It's usually like a few days later because the trauma they were exposed to is just that great. So when you see stories about these Black mothers being denied medical care when they're trying to give birth at a hospital, you also need to know that they're not out of the woods yet just because they delivered the baby. You have to keep an eye on the mother for weeks after these traumatic incidents, and you have to watch the babies for years. That's the true cost of whenever these racist hospital personnel pull a stunt like this. You have not just endangered the life of the mother and the baby on that day, but there's going to be risks to their lives that's going to be following for months, if not years afterwards. Those babies have been traumatized as well at the most vulnerable point in their lives. This is why I get mad as hell about this subject. And I don't think the family should be asking for an apology. Apologies, hell. I don't want so-called reforms either. I want the racist animals who jeopardize Black lives to be punished, and punishment means prison time. And I want their slaughterhouses that they call hospitals to be shut down. This is the reason we need an anti-Black hate crime law specifically for us, because we are the only ones who are singled out and subjected to this kind of life-threatening and often life-ending hostility. And being denied medical care must be part of any hate crime legislation. There must be a legal framework in place to not only enable Black victims of medical discrimination to seek civil penalties, but for the most important thing of all, that the perpetrators be immediately forced out of any role in healthcare and be put in a cage. The reason that these things happen is because these racist animals know that there's no criminal statute that's going to be applied to their crimes, and that many of these lawmakers are themselves former doctors or nurses, so of course they're going to be covering up their own past bad behavior. And don't let anyone tell you that there's not enough interest in this. There's plenty of interest. What there isn't is enough focus. The Black media has been talking about it, but that's not good enough. Where's the Congressional Immigrant Caucus at while all this is going on? Well, right now, they're attending to far more important matters than whether Black babies and their mothers live or die. Right now, they're aggrandizing themselves by taking part in interviews where they talk about a Black, Brown, and Asian alliance. So that's what the Congressional Black Caucus is up to while all this is going on. Not a word about the constant and deliberate life-threatening treatment of Black mothers and their babies. As far as the CBC is concerned, the only time they want to see a Black mother is on Election Day. And as for the babies, they don't want to see them at all. While the CBC is busy doing these little meetings with Asian and Hispanic lawmakers, nobody brings up the fact that the Asians got a hate crime law specifically for them, even though at the very time that that legislation was proposed and passed, Black people were and remain the majority of hate crimes victims. But it didn't take a study or any years-long congressional debate about that law either. They said they wanted an Asian hate crime law in 2020, and the next year it was passed. Black people demand a hate crime law for decades, and we're just ignored, just like Black mothers in labor are ignored in these hospitals. The CBC are active participants in all of this. They're the melanated foot soldiers for anti-Black racism. Their silence is not some victimless crime. Whenever they refuse to speak on issues like this, that's what the white media uses as the unspoken approval and permission that, oh, Black folks don't care about this because our cherry-picked bootlicks, they're not saying anything. And that's what the society sees as well. Hey, if these Black politicians aren't saying anything, it can't be a problem, right? They should be the main ones pushing legislation that would strip these hospitals of federal funds when they do things like this. Hold these bastards funding over their heads, and you'll stop seeing these racist doctors and nurses being so eager to throw Black patients out in the street. They only do it because they know that nothing's going to be done about it. Time for that to change. And speaking of change, don't let anybody change the subject whenever we bring this up. Don't let anyone decide that they're going to either talk around this issue or that they're going to try to slyly say nothing about it at all. The cowards who try to tell us that reparations is just too big a request to make, why don't they think that merely making sure Black mothers don't get thrown out of hospitals when they're in labor is too much? Notice how these cowards never talk about this, and they can't lie and say it's not a problem because it happens so often. So instead, the walking trash like A. Dummy and others, they don't talk about it at all. They don't give their typical Black conservative claptrap either because it doesn't fit crimes like this. The usual deflections and dodges they like to use, like white racism ain't really all that bad, and of course the all-purpose but what about Black on Black crime, That doesn't fit and doesn't work when you have a subject like this. They can't drag out the respectability politics and personal responsibility spiel when Black mothers are screaming in excruciating pain because these white racist physicians refuse to treat them while they're right in front of them giving birth. So since these Black conservatives can't use their usual canned answers, they just don't say anything about this at all. And these are also the same morons who say, but what about Black on Black crime? They say that's everything. Well, you can't say it to this. They can't drag out that old saw when we talk about Black infant and maternal mortality rates. And on top of that, it would look damn weird if they decide to say to themselves, well, I admit that it's important, but let's move on to something else. So instead, they can't even afford to talk about this issue at all. But these are the same liars who claim to be pro-life. And they'll be the first ones to say that we can't call out white racism when white cops kill Black folks. You can't call that out. After all, Black folks is murdering their own children with abortions every year. If they really cared about Black babies, then they'd be leading the charge to stop hospitals from selectively targeting Black pregnant mothers. They would be leading the charge to defund hospitals who have track records of Black patients dying at rates far higher than everyone else. That's what these allegedly pro-life Negroes would be saying. That is, if they actually cared about Black lives and about Black babies, but they don't. And sadly, these cowardly and lying Black conservatives you see online, on TV, or on the radio are not alone in their attitude of contempt. Your Black feminists don't say a word about this issue either, do they? When has Angela Rye, Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, Tiffany Cross, Jamila Lemieux, or any of these Black feminists ever gotten on any politician's case about this? You've never seen Tarana Burke saying a word about this, but then again, as she herself said, why is it her job to go after white men? Because these white men run the hospitals where Black mothers' lives are being endangered and their babies are being killed. That's why. You haven't heard Charlemagne the Fraud talk about it, or Roly-Poly Martin either. These creeps love to brag about the interviews they do with these DC politicians, but not one of them has ever mentioned this. Not to any of these politicians. Not one of these bootlicks ever puts these white politicians on the spot and demands that they pledge legislation to put an end to this medical genocide. These bootlicks who pathetically try to palm themselves off as being Black media, they don't even talk about this subject on their own little side shows. The only way that they would ever have the nerve to talk about it would be only if their white paymasters brought the subject up, and even then they would just slavishly repeat whatever their white paymaster told them to say. Other than that, they're not talking about it at all, because to talk about it pushes the fact that there needs to be legislation. Action needs to be taken. This type of egregious and blatant anti-Black racism should have been addressed through a raft of laws long ago. Instead, it wasn't, and still isn't today. Family, when you get a chance to confront some politician, either in person or some podcast or TV program, whatever it may be, make it a point to bring this up. Black people are the only ones treated like this. So we need legislation and criminal penalties specifically for us. And your white leftist commentators, how many of them have mentioned this? They love to slam their gums about Medicare for all and preserving Obamacare, but that's about it. I know this is not a sexy subject, family, but having to see one's wife or daughter in excruciating pain while racist hospital staff think it's funny to ignore them or to throw them out when they're giving birth right in front of you. We can't continue the practice of not focusing on something until the problem affects you or someone you know personally, because by then it's too late. There's a lot of reasons why we require reparations, a lot of evils that we've been forced to endure simply because of our race and because of our lineage, truth be told. And this happens to be one of them. Punishing anti-Black medical discrimination is a subject that belongs right up there with reparations and an anti-Black hate crime law. It's all part of the exact same problem. Black folks better start getting used to focusing on subjects like this, no matter how uncomfortable it may make you. Because a people who look the other way while their enemies murder their babies are also a people who have no future. Good day and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Dean Ballantyne, William Williamson, Jimmy Whitfield, Sean Covington, and Wahib Abdul. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
Right on, Professor. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said, Professor. This is why we need an anti-Black hate crime bill. This is exactly why we need reparations. This is exactly why we need our own hospitals, our own doctors, and our own nurses. And crew, you said that hospital is where you're at. And you said, thank God you never had to go there. Yeah. I can dig it. It kind of reminds me of UC Health here in Denver. Presbyterian St. Luke's, or Denver Health for that matter. All right, so the next topic is supposed to be the Chicago parent. But I don't have it in the queue for some odd reason. So I'll play Mad Blacc's version of this exact same story while I'm pulling that up.
What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Blacc, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So a very aggravating story coming out of Illinois where a black couple were basically thrown out of a hospital while the wife was in labor, and they wound up having to deliver their child on the side of the road. So the story is a black couple, Mercedes and Leon Wells. They were at a hospital, the Franciscan Health Crown Point Hospital in Indiana, and they were there obviously to deliver their baby because Mercedes, she was having her contractions, and they were very close together. At the time that they were at the hospital, I believe that they were 10 minutes apart. So, I mean, anyone who's had a child before should know, when your contract is going to come very soon, right? So they were there at the hospital, but the nurse kept giving them the runaround because they never got seen by a doctor. She told them the doctor was coming, but the doctor never showed up. And then they checked her, how far her cervix was opening, and they said that she wasn't open like it should have, right? So they sent this woman who's basically sitting there in pain with the contractions. They put her in a wheelchair and just wheeled her out of the hospital. And not too long after being discharged from the hospital, on the side of the road, the father, Leon Wells, had to basically deliver his own baby right there in the car. Now, good news and the happy part of this is that, the little girl that they delivered, she's doing just fine. Okay, so she survived, she's doing well, and basically what we're dealing with now is just the trauma from for the mother, and I guess that's probably transferred into the child as well, and also the father, and just this family having to deal with that. Because the father, he said he had no real experience as far as delivering a child or whatever, but to be honest, there's not really much to it. Once the child's coming, it's coming. Basically, it's the after part that you really have to learn about, as far as like disconnecting the cord and stuff like that, and having to make sure your wife is okay. But I feel bad for him that he was put in that type of stressful situation, because as a father, and as a mother as well, but as a father having to deliver his own child, that's a stressful situation to be in anyway, because you want to make sure that your family is okay and your family is safe. And for the hospital to have no type of sympathy or no type of heart, and just to send them back out there on the road, that's egregious. And it's very, this story made me very angry. I saw it last night before I went to bed. I probably shouldn't have been like watching the news before I went to bed, but it's that's just the way I am sometimes. Sometimes I like to check the weather and everything else before I go to sleep. And I saw this story and it pissed me all the way off. Okay. It made me very angry when I saw that, because that's not something that anyone should have to go through. And the fact that, that there are so many deaths with Black women and Black children in this so-called medical system, things like this is just it's maddening. And if it doesn't make you want to take up arms, or if it doesn't make you want to just go out there and cause a ruckus, I don't know what will, right? Because this is something that should not be happening. Once again, it's tough enough having a child to begin with. There's so many things that can go wrong. As someone who has lost a child, like my first child died of premature birth, it's something that never leaves you. It's very traumatizing, and I can't tell you just how tough it actually is to get through that. And you really never get over it. It's something that always sticks with you. Even, I'll say, with the birth of my second child, it was not the happy occasion that it probably should have been, because my wife and I were worried about the negative outcome that we got the first time. But, the birth of our second child went smoothly as if nothing happened the first time, right? But, having to go through that, you just get scared. Like, it's not, even I remember, like, when my wife got pregnant, there was that fear was still there in the back of our heads after losing our first child, right? So it's a scary thing to have to go through. And the fact that they were put through this, that they were put through the ringer like this is unforgivable. It's not something that money can settle. I'm sure that they'll get a lawsuit or whatever, but money is not something that is going to soothe what you went through there, right? There's going to have to be some real consequences for this hospital and for the staff that was there at the time. There's going to have to be some severe consequences for them for what they did. Really, people should be locked up for that, right? Because you can't just, that's discrimination at the most base of this story. It has to be some sort of discrimination, but at the worst, it's extremely negligent, and it's hostile towards this Black woman and her child. And once again, as a Black man, that's very infuriating to see that. So, I don't know what's going to come of this, but once again, this is not something that is new. This is something that has been going on in this country for a long time. If you read any type of books about the medical apartheid, and if you read any of the stats of what goes on with Black women and Black children in these hospitals, because what's interesting is you'll have so many of these people come out here and spout this rhetoric about, Black people or Black women having abortions or aborting their children. But this is something that they never want to talk about. Like, if you are truly concerned about wanting to save the children, if you're truly concerned about wanting to, protect innocent Black life, like Black children, why are you not talking about stuff like this? This is a very serious problem when it comes to how hospitals treat Black women, or just Black people in general, because they feel like we don't feel the same amount of pain. They even did like a study where they asked doctors, do you feel that Black people feel the same amount of pain? And they said no. They think that we don't feel pain. This is this is an old stereotype going back to slavery, where they feel like, we don't feel pain, we don't need anesthesia, we can just recover from things quicker. If something bad happens to us, like, we don't need recovery time. They just want to throw you up out of the hospital as soon as possible, right? And then you hear about these stories of people dying once they get home because they didn't have the proper recovery time, or mothers getting sick, or their children dying later on because they didn't get the proper time in the hospital. They didn't check them properly because they're just trying to rush them out of there, And I know some people in the community, they feel like the solution to this is just to have midwives, or, to deliver your children at home. That is definitely an alternative to consider. However, that's not everybody's, everyone doesn't have that luxury or can go through that. Sometimes you do need a hospital, right? Everyone can't just deliver their children at home. If it's a natural birth, then yeah, but there might be complications there that you are not prepared to deal with, or something that you just can't deal with unless you have a very sterile setting, right? There are certain things that you have to prepare for that you might not be able to do at home all the time unless you have, proper medical training. So this is something to think about. And once again, if we're going to have a society where we're putting tax dollars and stuff into these hospitals, or we're paying into these municipals, then yes, we should have the ability to go to these hospitals without fear of dying when we go in there, right? It's always talked about like as a thing about the Black community, or even it's almost like a stereotype, but it's somewhat true, where Black people have a fear of the medical community, and it's because of the malpractice and the mistreatment of our people within the medical system. And that's something we have to fight against, because that truly is one of the worst types of racism that's out there, and it's the worst type of racial violence that we go through, because when you're going to a hospital, you're completely vulnerable, you're seeking help, and the fact that they can take advantage of you in that way, especially when it is concerning your women and your children that are not even born yet, that they're so vulnerable to attack. This is something that really needs to be considered and something that needs to be fought against. So you folks, let me know how you feel about this story. If you saw it yourself, or if you've seen any other commentary on it, let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear your opinions on this, especially from people who maybe have had a negative situation when they went to the hospital, or if you're a parent like me who's lost a child, or maybe you're just a parent who's had a tough outcome or a negative outcome, or just whatever. Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you all have to say. Anyway, Mad Blacc, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.
Sorry, y'all. I'm frying up some lunch right now. Or breakfast, lunch, brunch. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with everything Man Blacc TV said. Chris Crazy House, shout out to you. So moving along, we got Chicago mother attacked by students.
It's hard to watch children circle a mother, then dragging the mother and her son to the ground, continuously beating them.
These children are going to have to live with this for the rest of their lives. And the children are our future, so it's not fair.
Police say it started with a mother, her young son, and Benzie in the South Deer neighborhood. A group of kids then started chasing after them, calling them names and taunting them. Both the mother and son were beaten so badly they were taken to a hospital. Word of the attack spread quickly on social media, causing outrage among many. Police officers showed up, blocking the entrance of the school to protect kids inside. Shanice Davis lives in the neighborhood and says she recognizes the attacker.
This is not the first time the kids have done this. Just talk around the streets that these kids have pretty much been raising themselves, and they have not been held accountable. They have vandalized cars. They have harassed adults and children.
To know and find out even now that other families are affected by this. We meet families out here that their children been bullied and been beat on.
Chicago Police District Council member Joseph Williams was inside talking with the principal, the mother, and CPS administration.
Accountability is key. If this been going on, we need to make sure that principal be held accountable. This should have been documented. Parents should have been called to the school, and we got to make sure all around that is some type of accountability that's happening here.
He said the Nigerians ran up in the Catholic girls' church again and took a bunch of kids. You talking about Nigeria? Yeah, folk in Chicago ain't going for no mess like that. Exactly.
Now to a CBS exclusive. The mother in this video, who was attacked while protecting her children, is speaking publicly. She and her son were brutally attacked by a group of kids on Monday, and this video has caught the attention of many across the country. Now, that community is stepping in to help move her out of the South Deering neighborhood. She only spoke to our Sharday Gray about this horrific attack, and Sharday is live in our newsroom with more from this exclusive story.
Well, Marie, Korshonda Hatter says she's still in physical pain after she and her son were brutally attacked with her young daughter just steps away. Her legs are bruised and it's hard for her to walk. But what hurts her the most is her children are still suffering.
My son is, he's very devastated. He'll wake up out of him in the middle of his sleep, screaming. He'll scream, "Mommy, are you there?"
Hatter says her 9-year-old son and 6-year-old daughter are traumatized after watching their mom get attacked by a group of kids. In this video, we've blurred the faces of those involved because they're all minors. We've stopped it after she was dragged to the ground because of how brutal it is. Her son was beaten, and she says one of the kids pulled her daughter's hair. Her daughter stood off to the side crying, watching her brother and mother get attacked.
I felt helpless because I was down on the ground and he was down on the ground and he's looking at me screaming like, "Mommy, please help me, help me." I couldn't get up myself. I couldn't do nothing.
She's sick. She has sickle cell. So I guess they seen a little weakness on her because she's, kind of walking a little slow. And they have no right to put their hands on an adult.
That's her partner, Devon Lee, who was at work when the attack happened. Hatter went on to tell me that her son has been bullied for the past 2 years at Orville T. Bright Elementary School because of the way she walks and talks, all of the results of her sickle cell disease. Hatter tried to talk to the school about the bullying, but she says they didn't do anything about it. Yesterday, a large group of parents came to the school to show their support for the mother and to put an end to bullying. The community immediately stepped in and moved her out of South Deering and into an undisclosed location. Hatter says she's pressing charges against the parents of the kids who attacked her. As for her children, they'll be transferred to a different school, and she's looking to get therapy for them. Reporting in the newsroom, Sharday Gray, CBS News, Chicago. Marie.
Sharday, thank you for that exclusive story.
Hey, yo.
They need to be, the mamas need to go to jail too. Fuck that. Lock the mamas up and throw the kids in the garbage can. Fuck you talking about?
Oh, shit, say it. What you say? Say it one more time. Say it loud. What you say?
Lock the mamas up and throw the kids in the garbage can. Fuck you talking about?
Type shit. This your boy Big Keys Against the World, and I approve of that. If y'all don't know what's going on and what's going wrong, the parents have been found. Type shit, as they should be. Lock their ass up.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Yeah, lock the parents' ass up too. Now we're dealing with Nicole, Amora, Letitia, Leia, all the people names that DMX said on what these bitches want from a nigga. It was Nicole, Amora, Letitia, all them names he said, these was the parents of them kids. It's starting to make sense type shit. Now, if y'all don't know, earlier on yesterday, whenever you watching this, the Cabbage Patch Kids turned wild. They went wild. The Cabbage Patch was stale. Cue what happened with them Cabbage Patch Kids. Crazy work for you. Ah, man.
Come on, blood. Shamar looking at Shamar.
It was at this moment he heaped up.
Damn. Look her wig off. They Natalie Nunn. They watch too much Zeus. Instead of doing homework, they watching Zeus baddies, probably sneaking up in the liquor, doing baddie shot o'clock. Throw the whole Cabbage Patch away. Throw the whole kids. Burn that motherfucker. Type shit. Fuck them kids.
What's to say about the Charlene and the kids?
Fuck them kids.
Fuck the kids?
Yeah, the cabbage stank type shit. However, y'all, at least we was able to find the parents. Now, the parents are taking us, from what I see, most of them are taking responsibility, except one. Now, this is not a parent. She says she's not the parent. She claims these are her nieces and nephews. Her name is Leia type shit. I ain't gonna say her full name. Should I say the full name? Nah. I don't want y'all to get on her ass too much. But her name is Leia Von Shea. Leia Von Shea type shit on Facebook, right? Here it go. Shout out to everybody in the building. Type shit. Her name is Leia Von Shea on Facebook. Go talk to her. Say something nice. Type shit. However, if she was holding back them kids like she was holding on to them bottles, this shit probably would never happen. Where was you at when your nieces and nephews was DDTing motherfuckers and shit? TLC and table ladders and chairs. They watching wrestling and redoing they fucking wrestling moves. Is you crazy? If you was holding on to them kids like you was holding on to them bottles, they probably snuck in your bottles. Was doing baddie, shot a clock. Then that's why they thought they'd come take her wig and shit. Then she run around with the wig. They probably put the wig on. We didn't see all that crazy ass shit. Is you fucking crazy? However, the parents were found. So, and they accepted responsibility. Except that one. She talking mad shit too, y'all. I'm talking about cash money. Me, all sorts of shit she said. But the other three cool type shit. However, this your boy Big Keys Against the World, and they moved the mother out. She got to go too, shit. It was already messed up. The kids, she said them kids followed her from the school. So they had premeditated whoop ass. They had a can of whoop ass premeditated on ice. They followed her. Then jumped her. That's crazy work. They are, listen, honestly, if she didn't have whatever, she said something was wrong with her, right? 100%, or she had the strength of just any regular adult, them kids would have been mollywopped. Because they was a little malnourished. Them kids wasn't healthy all the way type shit. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't hitting extra hard. So someone with just basic strength could have tore their ass up. Crazy work. By the grace of God, though, it all goes according to his plan. But shout out to y'all. This your boy Big Keys Against the World. Fuck them kids.
What's to say about the Charlene and the kids?
Fuck them kids.
Fuck the kids?
Yeah.
Facts. We up at
worldwide terrorist, Chi-Town veteran. My swagger go dumb, but I'm highly intelligent.
Reporting live from Hypers Club in Atlanta for Hype Plus News, I'm John Abba. Earlier this week, parents and community members would surround Orville T. Bright Elementary School in Chicago in response to a now viral video of a mother and her 9-year-old son attacked by kids. In the video, the mother would seemingly confront kids who were bullying her son, only to be met with punches and kicks by the group of children. The beating she would receive was so bad that the mother and her son were both taken to a nearby hospital. This incident would cause many to be outraged, not just at the kids for what they did, but also the parents for not doing a better job in raising them.
I'm going to be the one to say it because ain't nobody else going to say it. But to all the parents of those Chicago kids that jumped their mother and her 2 babies, y'all need to be at court on Monday.
Children like that, I'm going to beat your ass. I'm not going to even lie to you. Don't come to me in these goddamn comments talking about children, this and this. Man, I'm going to beat the out of a child. I don't give a damn. Bitch, I'm going to hold a child accountable because I'm going to beat your ass. And then guess what? I'm going to say, what the your mama at? I'm going to walk to the door and I'm going to beat her ass.
Reportedly, one of the connected parents would speak out about her daughter being involved. On a Facebook post, she would write, let me say this first. My daughter is a great ass kid. She's an AB student, captain of the cheerleading team, ahead of her class, and some more shit. All good things from every teacher. If you know, you know. We don't owe nobody an apology, but that lady and her kids. So y'all all grown mother effers looking for a viral moment. Please shut the F up, because kids gonna be kids. And it's kids out here that did way worse shit. Let alone y'all ass when y'all was 12 and 13 years old. Y'all ass used to be out here beating up crackheads and all. Y'all don't know us at all. She was peer pressured. If you know my family, you know if we find a friend and a mother effer, and we gonna stand behind them 100% no matter what. But this is definitely a lesson learned. She was held accountable for her actions. Y'all talk about it takes a village. She got a castle, the F, and everybody standing 10 toes behind her. I was never going to go live making y'all mother effers feel no type of way. Once again, we do not owe y'all no apology. F y'all. Mother effers know what's going on in real life and know my kids not raised like that at all. Feel how y'all want. F y'all. Now, of course, the strong response from the alleged mother would cause other parents to be upset, as one user would respond back with, "You can't even come on this app as a parent of a child who just committed a crime and show remorse to that family. You're defending your child and trying to save her character when you should be giving her consequences to her actions. It's always my kid is a great kid after they committed a crime. Your child made the first viral moment, and this shady, ratchet, distasteful post by you created the second viral moment. Instead of trying to save face, go handle your kid and make up with me trying to play victim after they were the ones who created the issue." Now, it would appear that the alleged child of that mother would later take to social media to issue a tearful apology. The video will start off with a family friend warning viewers to be respectful because a young girl is a child.
We're just coming live so she can say her piece and take accountability. I won't say too much. And please, anyone that decides to say anything, keep it respectful. This is the child.
Hey, my name is Kamara Grant, and I was wrong for I wish I would never did what I did.
Now, after the apology, some assumed the woman in the video was the girl's mother, which would cause her to issue a series of messages about her connection and why she's involved. One thing about it, I'm solution oriented, and I'm not afraid to get in the field the right way. I physically put my body and freedom on the line for Black people. So the comments, requests, and messages are seen, but don't phantom me. I actually care about the woman, her children, and all the kids. Resources have poured for the woman and her children as they should. However, although this is not my child, what are we to do about the kids? Are we to abandon our children or hold them accountable? Are we to step in or fall back? Y'all won't make me feel as if I'm someone who I'm not, because I know who I am. And on top of that, it's very much respected. Half of y'all still behind the keyboard. Get out here, get to work so that shit like this don't happen again. It takes a village. Meanwhile, y'all still talking about blocks and bullshit. Please miss me or reach me when you want to collaborate for a better future. Hashtag we all be God. Now, one user on Facebook would gain over 1 million views after she would sound off on parents for not stepping in and allowing the village to support them.
All those people who saying it ain't no village no more, you an ugly ass, black ass lie. You want to know why I know it's a village? Because I'm part of it. I just tried to redirect a little boy in JJ's Fish on North Avenue in Laramie the other day. You know what that little mother did? He FaceTimed his mama. Do you know what his mama said? Just up out of there before I have to come tear that motherfucker up. Ma'am, your son already in here tearing it up. All I did was told him, don't climb on the people's ATM machine. You can't say shit to y'all kids. That's the problem. All you bitches think y'all baddies. Y'all stuck in a reality loop. Y'all keep watching baddies over and over again. Why you 40 plus going to audition for baddies? Tend to your kids. Y'all are failing your children, like I said.
Now, on Tuesday night, a part of his 5150 show, Chicago native Corey Holcomb would respond to the viral video and would point out how times have changed. According to him, there was a lot more respect back in the day.
I'm telling you, man, I'm from the projects, homie. I'm from where it go down. But when I was growing up, nobody would run up on your mama. Gangbangers, grown or not, would not run up on you while you was with your mama because there was still respect in the community. If your mama came and picked you up from school and walked with you, gangbangers would be like, nah. Okay, you with your mama. There was still enough respect in the community where a family was given a pass. Now, nothing. I can sit up here and tell you, the kids can get it. The presence of a strong male is gone. So the children are going to run amok and get gunned down as they home invade people's house.
Now, outside of other solutions being highlighted like tougher parenting, it appears that Chicago has noticed an issue with some of his kids and have been thinking of solutions. Back in 2023, Chicago Councilman Ray Lopez proposed that parents get fined up to $5,000 if their child is involved in any public unruly behavior. According to the New York Post, under Lopez's proposal, any legal guardian who willfully or knowingly allows their child to engage in a host of offenses wreaking havoc on the quality of life in Chicago neighborhoods would be subject to ranging from $1,000 to $5,000. The offenses range from panhandling, underage and public drinking, cannabis use, violating curfew, and climbing on to take over racing. The viral video has been released from the hospital and has begun to demand that the school system in Chicago do more to protect their students from bullying. So let's talk about them in the comments below. How do you think more moments like this can be prevented? And if you're a parent, what or who do you blame is the reason? Stay up to date for the latest news in comedy, culture, and sports by subscribing here to our YouTube channel and follow Hype Plus across all social media. And if
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Them parents should be charged money for their kids' misconduct, because especially if they're running rampant like that. I'm not in the shy, but I deal with these kids out here in Denver, Colorado, and there's some bad MFers too. And then you try to get on the parents, and the parents be like, you can't tell me how to discipline my child, and all that type of dumb shit. So then your child end up in jail. Then you talking about, oh, my baby was such a good baby. He didn't do nothing wrong. He was this, he was that. No, he was fucking up. And you fucking up because you wasn't raising them right or raising them at all. Let baddies or television or whatever the hell raise your child. And now this is the consequence. So our brother Church of Black Power covered this as well. So I'm going to play a segment of what he covered on this and then what I have to say about it. And Hurricane Miss Niecy. Shout out to Hurricane Miss Niecy. And shout out to Church of Black Power.
The youth grace, because you know the children. This right here, this would have had me swinging on kids. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Right.
I would probably be taken in because I probably would have just been swinging, and that's a fact. The fact that you disrespectful ass little dudes, I was gonna call them all kind of other stuff, but the fact that y'all attack the mother. See, I don't know what the hell today's age is doing. Where are the damn parents? Because the parents need to be held accountable for this shit. The parents need to be held accountable for this. And if they were my children, and if that was my wife, and she came home and told me that this happened, oh, I would be on a search for each one of those children. Now, I might not hurt those children, but your parents, I don't give a damn who it is. Somebody's catching these damn hands. You're going to learn why you don't do this type of nonsense. And I'm going to keep it 100 with you. If your parents don't whoop your ass in front of me, I'm going to whoop their ass in front of you. And don't worry, I'll bring my sister along for your mama. But everybody getting the ass whooping here today. And right after I whoop their ass, I'm going to take my belt off and whoop your ass, just like they should have been doing. Oh, yeah, family. This is a situation that really pissed me the hell off. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. I am glad about one situation in this whole ordeal. And that's the fact that the community came together after they found out what happened to this woman and their children. I want to show you that.
Clear as some kid. Who is it? That's the son? Oh, here go the son, y'all.
This our son right here,
This the
y'all.
son.
Yeah, we here for you. We here
Here
for
go
you.
the son, y'all.
We here for you, man. We here for you. We here for you.
It's okay, baby.
We love you.
You okay? You okay? Okay? God got you. You covered. I promise you, you covered.
Yeah, we here for you.
Yes.
We here for you, boy.
Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. Come on. You okay?
They needed this.
Where that little baby at? You okay, baby? You okay? 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 Yeah. For real. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We here for him.
That's right, Auntie. Man, let us
We here.
It's okay. You okay, baby? Okay? You okay?
Now, family, the fact that the community pulled up on the school, that made me proud as hell. And this is not an indictment on our children. This is not an indictment on foundational Black American children. This is an indictment on those children, on those parents. This is an indictment because of the fact that those parents did not do what they were supposed to do, which is raise their children with some damn sense, with some freaking respect. When I was growing up, let me even look at an adult wrong, and I'm getting my ass whooped. And it might not be from my mom, my dad, or my grandpa. It might be from one of my neighbors. And they'll drag my ass over to my mama, and they will tell my mama this little boy was doing A, B, and C, and I got on his ass, and she'd be like, really? Thank you. Pull me in the house, and then she'll get on my ass. Then she'll call my grandpa. My grandpa will drive over there because he lived down the street, and he'll get on my ass. There would never be a day that I would be able to do anything like this. I remember one day I called myself trying to fight my dad because I got pissed off at him one day. And my dad told me right then and there, you can try it if you want to. But then, after this is done with, it ain't going to be me you have to worry about. And when he said that, I knew he was either talking about I'll be meeting God or I'll be meeting my grandpa. And either way, yeah, I didn't want either one of those. And trust me, I respect and love my dad. Of course, every, little testosterone kid will try to, try a little something from time to time, see what they can get away with. Yeah, my pops wasn't having that, nor was my grandfather, because my grandpa, he ended up telling my grandpa. But my grandpa told me just like this. You're lucky you didn't do that, Because it wouldn't even, whether your dad won or lost, you would have been left this earth after which. My grandpa do not play that shit and never have. Even with his own damn children. I remember a story from my childhood. One of my uncles was drunk and my grandfather had stopped drinking. So my grandfather told my uncle, hey, you need to stop drinking as well. And I mean for that day, right? He said, you didn't had too many. And my uncle, he started going off, you can't tell me what to do. And he's on the top of the stairs. And he's like really yelling at my grandpa. And my grandpa is an old school Southern player. He do not have to yell. He will let you know what the hell is going on. And if you try something, it's going to go down. And he told him just like this, because my uncle was acting like he was about to rush down the stairs. My grandpa told him straight up, you step down those stairs, I'm going to shoot your ass in the foot. My uncle didn't believe him. My grandpa kept a deuce Dillinger on his hip at all damn times. And that was one of the things I will always remember. My grandpa used to walk around with that deuce faithfully. Well, my uncle thought that my grandpa was playing. He went running down them stairs, and guess what? My grandpa shot his ass in the foot. And he's lucky because he could have got Marvin Gaye. So when I say I come from a family where this type of nonsense is not acceptable or is not accepted, I mean that wholeheartedly. The parents need to be getting on these kids' ass. If not, then these other parents need to go and get on those parents' ass. If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to take care of your responsibility, don't worry, I will oblige you. Somebody hand me a belt. This is just I just can't fathom what was going on in these kids' minds. But whatever it is, that shit needs to be beat the hell out of them. And yes, I said that. These kids need their ass whipped. So all y'all out there who don't believe in spanking some ass, who believe that's abusive to whoop your children, when you spare the rod, you create children like this. Let me say that again. When you spare the rod, you create children like this. Children without respect. Children without boundaries. Children that may turn that energy inward on you. Let's get over here to this news clip. Oh, before we get to the news clip, here's another thing. When the community pulled up, they pulled up so thick that they had to bring out the po-po in order to make sure that nothing went down. Let's go here.
The middle school age group, and this is a Chicago public school. Right now we have the Chicago Police Department who is protecting the entranceway to the school due to protesters who had arrived out here out front of the school. So right now you have news media, you have people from the community, relatives of the victim. People are speaking out about bullying in the school system, in Chicago public schools. So, this happened at Orville Bright Elementary School. And this is a school that I have taught at multiple times as a substitute teacher for CPS. And I am aware, these kids are You know, these kids are big and strong. You know, this woman was very small, and you know, she didn't stand a chance against all of those kids who ganged up on her and her children and hurt them. And it's ridiculous. And people are standing up, and we're speaking out against this violence in our community. You know, we want to protect every person, every child, everybody in our community. We can't do that if people are not going to be held accountable. So,
and she's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Shout out to Mrs. Denise in the building, Hood-tastic Williams Music. Much love to you, family. Thank you for being here. I never talked back to my parents, and even when like I got big enough to think that I was going to do something, like I said, that got corrected real quick. Real damn quick. Put their little asses in juvie and see how they like it. And that's one thing that I agree with. Lock their little asses up for a little bit and see if they're going to like that. I usually don't advocate for stuff like that. But when you see something like this, where y'all beating and kicking on a pregnant woman and beating her children and y'all recording it like this is fun and games, yeah, lock their little asses up. Right after my belt hit all of their little asses. And shout out to our brother Reparations Nation. He said he do believe it's abusive. However, the situation definitely warrants it. Excuse me. If they're big enough to bully and harm someone, then they get bullied and harmed, such as life. Family, I'm not saying that you gotta abuse your children and beat on them every single day, but with shit like this, yeah, this deserves an ass whooping. I believe in alternative methods of discipline as well. I do. But there's just some egregious things that will not stand at all. At all. Shalom and salute to number one Switchblade in the building, as well as our good brother Warrior Cherub in the building, and our brother AO is in the building. Much love to you, my good brother. And our good brother Marvin C is in the building, as well as Maneuver. Family, now let's get to this clip.
They were literally waiting the way we walk home just to jump all of us. So now we waiting. Just to jump all of us. So I asked my kids to come to the next side of the street with me. So they wouldn't get jumped. So we kept walking, they followed us all the way there. And then they still followed us. They fought my son, hit my son first.
That's right.
Then they dragged me in the grass and pulled my little baby hair. And I have video footage of that.
Yes, we do.
Everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to be, the mamas need to go to jail too.
I appreciate it.
Lock the mamas up and throw the kids in the garbage.
I'm here. I'm thankful for everybody that came out here. Justice and justice.
This is how we come together.
Yes. The father want to say something, y'all. This the daddy.
And once we get them out of here, it'll be better.
We need somebody from the school out here too. Where they at?
Give her a gift. She's trying to give her a gift. That's something for you, baby.
Blessings, my bro. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's okay. God got you. Oh, this shit is bringing tears to me. Yes. Yes.
Family, the father is there. And as the father, I would have just, and when they put that mic in my face, I would have been calling out parents. Each of your parents owe me a fade. You done kick my pregnant wife and beat up on my 2 babies? Oh, no, 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 no. Get all your parents and line them to fuck up today. And everybody at the school who knew about this situation is catching these hands too. From the principal to the little security guard. Anybody who my child has ever told that these kids was bullying him, that didn't take the proper precautions, that didn't do their damn job, you owe me a fade. And I am not joking. Those are my babies. And then when I'm done, like I said before, line up the kids because I'm taking this belt off on each of y'all. And I wish you would swing on me. Shout out to our good sister Donna C in the building. Much love to you, as well as Brenda Thompson. Thank you both for being here. Oh, I'm not trying to make you cry, my sister. Trust me when I say that. I'm not trying to make you cry. Like I said, I was debating whether or not I was going to bring this to the family today because it is very triggering. But I would be remiss if I did not. This has to be checked, and it can't be unchecked. The police need to make sure they're going after all the parents. And I mean all the parents. Give me a second here, family. Miss Niecy said, I'm sorry, but ain't no way those little fuckers would have left the scene unscathed. You're absolutely correct, Miss Niecy. Absolutely correct. And I'm surprised. This is why I say too, always carry your power tools. Now, maybe you wouldn't have needed to shoot at anybody, but you could have shot in the air and watched some kids scatter like the roaches that they acted like. And again, this is not an indictment on our children. This is an indictment on their parents and on them. Let's go here, family.
Frustration outside of Orville T. Bright Elementary School as parents rallied around Prashonda Hatter and her 9-year-old son.
I can't sleep because I wake up in the middle of the night with that vision in my head of my son calling my name to help him, and I couldn't do nothing for him. That really hurted me the most.
The 33-year-old reported to police she was walking with her son when they were attacked by a group of kids. It happened near 106 and Bensley Avenue around 3 p.m. Monday, just blocks away from school.
No mother should be that helpless and be targeted by children inside of her own community.
State Senator Willie Preston met with the victim and her son as they called for a meeting with school administrators. The victim told NBC5 the incident stems from bullying at school. Meanwhile, Chicago police launched an investigation. Parents and other concerned residents demand answers. They say this points to a deep-rooted problem in the community.
We need more help out here. Trump sending troops and stuff out here for that. Come send troops out here for these kids. We need these kids to open up more programs for our kids.
Now, I'm going to pause there because I'm going to say this very clear. I don't agree with what that woman said. Now, I agree if you're asking for Trump to bring programs to the city to help those children, that's one thing. But calling for Trump to bring troops to your city to take care of your own damn children. No. The parents need to be held the fuck accountable, and they ass whipped, and send their ass to jail. Send the children to juvie. Let it be a family thing. But don't call on Trump to bring in troops, because all they're going to do is target every black child. This is why I said this is not an indictment on our black children and our black youth. This is an indictment on those parents and those particular children. Don't now put more children in danger because you want to call on Trump. That right there makes no damn sense to me. You need to be calling on your governor and your senator to do the damn work that they're supposed to be doing. Your mayor to do the work that they're supposed to be doing. They're so busy out here protecting these illegals that they're not out here doing what they're supposed to be doing for the actual citizens of their communities, their constituents. Shout out to Miss Nisi. Parents, raise your children responsibly, i.e. ass whooping time when needed. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you as well, Damon. This is another reason why I was very reluctant to speak on this outside of the members area. But like I said, this really does need to be addressed. The timing of this bullshit is very bad looking for FBAs. Yeah. And we don't even know that all of these kids are FBA, to be honest with you. But that's how they're going to frame this. That's exactly how they're going to frame it. Shout out to AO. Both parents need to raise their kids with respect and discipline when needed. These little jokers obviously don't have morals and values installed in them because their parents are failing them. Absolutely. And this is a symptom of babies raising babies. You're treating them like friends instead of children who you're supposed to be guiding so that you can make them productive people in the world. This is ridiculous. Shout out to John Son. Got to watch what you say, especially when triggered. So be careful, emotional family. Yeah, I get that. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Everything I said, no emotion. The emotion was pushed behind it. Yes, you heard emotion. But I say the same damn thing without it. Each parent owed me a fade. Each parent owed me a fade, and each child will get an ass whooping. And each parent needs to be in jail, imprisoned, and their children need to be put in juvie. That's the only remedy for this. Let's continue. Let's go here, family. This right here is a sister who lives in a neighborhood. Shout out to the elder that said this isn't the first time that these children has actually done this. Let's continue.
These children, they just as bad as adults.
Yeah.
They spray their boys out.
Mace. Who got sprayed? Them boys. They say they jumped on a lot of people up in here. About those same group of kids. Yep. Well, they've been just going around terrorizing the place, huh?
His eyes, I was in the door looking at him.
What?
That girl's dangerous. She jumping on a woman, stomping in the stomach. She don't need to be out inside.
No.
That mama just don't care.
She don't.
She don't.
You lock the loaded, mama? You lock the loaded? You lock the loaded? You got your pew-pew
You need a pew-pew.
You sure do, Brandy.
Make sure you just...
everywhere, anytime they set that woman on fire on the blue line.
Yeah, they just did that last night.
That was just last night?
They set
That
a woman on
happened?
fire on the blue line.
Oh, no.
They set her on fire.
She's in Cook County Hospital. Jesus.
That's crazy.
Well, you be careful. Yeah, be very careful. These kids, they out of control out here in Chicago, y'all.
Man, this shit is wicked.
They are out of control.
Family, the fact that they telling Nana to make sure she's strapped up, that is very sad. The youth is supposed to look up to the elders. The youth is supposed to respect their elders. And when that all breaks down, that's when you have society break down. Shout out to our sister, I Am Kiera, in the building. Much love to you, sister. Thank you for being here. And shout out to the ears that hear the truth. Thank you for your Cash App donation. Your donation is blessed tenfold, and I appreciate your contribution. Keep telling the truth. They need their ass whipped. Yep, exactly. See, folks who grew up in the old school already know what this is a result of. This is absolutely a result of people, and I don't know why the comments went down. This is a result of people not wanting to discipline their children. This is a result of babies raising babies, trying to be a friend rather than be a mother. Trying to be a friend rather than be a father. And you got to question if the fathers are even in these children's lives, because that would be something that should be instilled in them, even if the mother didn't instill it. Because usually, even if the mother isn't the disciplinary, the father is. Shout out to AO. He says too many people were raised in dysfunctional households, and are repeating the cycle. Absolutely. Absolutely. Give me a second, family. These allergies are kicking my ass. I need to take a drink of water. This is another fantastic comment here. I don't want folks watching the news and thinking if they shooting their kids, we should too. And this is why I say this is not an indictment on our children. This is an indictment on their parents and those children. And also, when I brought up the pew, I said I want to make sure I made it clear. You may not shot one of them or put one of them down. You may not have needed to. All you need to do is let one off in the air and watch how everyone scatter. David said, I was a knucklehead back in the day, but I knew where to draw the line. You absolutely damn right.
Shout out to Damon. He's
absolutely
uptight.
Damn right. Hurricane, he said, I'm a forever mother to my grown son. I don't friend my son to this day. You are absolutely correct. Because that's what a responsible parent looks like. That's what a responsible parent is supposed to do. Reparation, they said, just British is in the situation. You shoot in the air and you're going to jail, if not prison. Not if you fear for your life and the life of your children.
Reparations Nation.
You can make that argument, and you should make that argument. And I'm just being 100% honest. That became a mob situation on a mother who was pregnant and her 2 children? What if they would have unalived her baby? Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, my good brother, but I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, I would have let one off in the air. It's better that than to see what we just saw. And I wouldn't have done it until they absolutely put their hands on somebody. Of course, I'm not just saying, hey, while they're following you, just brandish the gun or, just let off. You sure she's not pregnant? Because in a news article, they did say a pregnant woman. If they're wrong, let me know. I appreciate it. The FBA family union is coming back together. Absolutely. And you can see it by the way that the whole neighborhood pulled up. The whole neighborhood wants answers. The whole neighborhood wants action. Oh, okay. Shout out to Classy Cake. Thank you for being here, family. Much love to you. She has sickle cell anemia. Okay. That's still bad too. Still bad. My sister has sickle cell anemia. So I'm glad y'all gave me that information. Thank you very much. You saw her in the live earlier. All right. Thank you, sister. I appreciate the fact checking. We do live fact checks over here. And that's why I love you guys, because if anything is wrong, you're going to be like, hey, here's a correction. Here's a correction. But at the end of the day, family, this situation should have never happened. It shouldn't have. I want to go here because one of the parents came out, and I don't know if this is the full video. It looks like this was on a live and somebody screenshotted it, screen recorded. But one of the parents came out with her daughter trying to wag her finger at the parents who were upset, saying, remember now, they're all children. Well, what the hell did you do to discipline your damn daughter? What, if anything? Because having a conversation with her, that ain't enough. Let's go here, family.
I think everybody, we've all seen the video. Everybody's been sharing it. The public outcry is definitely there. And we're all on the same accord that we want, I think more so than anything, we want everybody to understand that this is a child, all of them children.
This is a teacher? Okay, I thought it was her mother. But whether it's her mother or her teacher, you shouldn't be saying this shit. Yes, she's a child. But that child took it upon herself to fight a grown-ass woman, to jump a grown-ass woman. So when you say we all on one accord, I don't think we are. But let's let it continue.
That was in that video was children. Some of them, not all of them, may have families, but this baby here, she has a family that cares, that loves her, that has held her accountable. She understands what is going on, and I don't expect her.
Held her accountable by doing what? What was done to hold her accountable? Did she get her ass whipped? Did the parents take her over to the school to give a public apology? Even if she did give an apology, what does it matter? It still happened. So if she's not going to juvenile hall over this, then yeah, what you're saying is frivolous. That's not holding her accountable. Exactly, Iron Will. This looks very disingenuous. Shout out to our brother Antithesis in the building. Shalom to you and thank you for being here, my good brother. Once you put your hands on an adult, you're an adult, period. And I'm going to be honest with you. There would be certain situations to where it would take a little bit more than putting your hands on me as a child. I will spank your butt. I'll whip off my belt real quick. But in order for me to really have to go that far, this situation like this, yeah, that's a good damn reason. If your parents ain't gonna whoop your ass, guess what? Here I come. And I don't have no reservations about saying that either. You cannot allow situations like this to become normal. You cannot normalize a situation like this, and you can't go without properly disciplining the children who partook in this. And I hate to say it because I am not an advocate of sending our children to juvenile hall. I am not an advocate of sending Black people to jail unless it's warranted. But what else can you do in a situation such as this? They have to learn in some shape, form, or fashion that what they did can land them in bigger situations if it was ever done again. Shout out to Donna C. She says some people just need to be in jail, and I agree with you. John Sun said can't normalize disrespect, period. Absolutely. They should make them the last to do community service. They have to they have to learn in some. You're absolutely right. Like I said, and people may not like what I'm saying right now, but I'm being 100% honest. Growing up, we couldn't do shit like this. We just couldn't. And I'll say it again. This is not an indictment on our children. This is an indictment on those parents and their children and the way that they're raising their children. Shout out to Drew Laston. Thank you for your Cash App donation, family. Your donation is blessed tenfold, and I appreciate you for being here, my good brother. As well as salute and shalom to Ach in the building. Much love to you. Thank you for being here, family. Much love to you. Oh, snap. See, you got us. All right, Miss Niecy, I got you. Hold on. Give me a hot second. If you want to come up and say a few words, family, you are more than welcome. Let's finish playing this clip while we wait here.
To speak, we do not expect her to speak as we are going to speak because she's a child. What grade are you in, Kamara?
8th.
She's in 8th grade.
What grades do you get?
8th and I was homecoming queen. I'm the captain of the cheerleading team. Your person.
You will know that this baby, as well as all the other babies that's in that video, are very much our future. So if we laughing at them, we laughing at ourselves.
What the hell are you talking about? Who the hell is laughing at this situation? Who in the hell? I ain't seen not one smile on anybody's face. This isn't a laughable situation. And if those children are the future, oh, the future isn't looking too bright. Shalom and salute to my sister, Miss Niecy, Hurricane Niecy in the building. What you got to say, sis?
Peace and blessings, church and family in the chat. I had an experience similar to this when my son was in high school. I got the call He had been jumped by 3 white boys. I told this story on TBA's broadcast a couple of months ago, but I vividly remember this. 3-on-1. I went up to the school. I told him, "Where's my son?" He was injured, but not badly. I caught one of the white boys, grabbed them gonads, and I'm screaming and hollering. "You touch my son ever again in life, my face is going to be the last thing you see." See, I'm old school. Them children, I'm sorry. After watching that video, none of them little motherfuckers would have walked away without some marks. And I'm dead on serious on that one. Would have whooped all their asses and whooped their parents' asses. Hell no.
I am with you 100-fold, my sister. Trust me when I say.
Glad to go to jail. I might have some people's body parts in my hands. How about that? You ain't gonna ever forget. Bet you that.
I remember that conversation about the body parts, Miss Niecy. I do. What is going on here? Did it switch? Much love, my sister. Is there anything else?
No, I just said my piece, and I feel like the family understand exactly where I'm coming from.
Absolutely, my sister. I absolutely agree. Thank you for coming up, my sister.
You're welcome. Be blessed, baby.
You too. All right. Up next, we got our brother Jesse Paris got a few words to say. Go on, good brother.
Yes, sir. B1 salute. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to Miss Niecy. I agree wholeheartedly with what Miss Niecy said. They need a good old-fashioned ass whooping. Yeah, that wouldn't have been allowed when we were children. No, you don't put yourself in a adult's place when you're a child unless you want serious problems, repercussions, and consequences. These kids, they need a good old-fashioned ass whooping. I've had situations where I felt like I had to discipline the damn kids because the damn parents didn't want to do nothing. And they sit up there and want to try to argue with you, talking about, don't tell me how to raise my child. Don't tell me how to discipline my child. We need to discipline your goddamn child. That's the goddamn problem. These kids ain't getting the discipline that we got. Just for saying what to our parents, we get smacked.
Just for giving a look.
Just for giving a look or saying what. Like they call your name and you say what? Smack. Like they play that. You be picking your teeth up off the floor.
No smacking your teeth.
No.
Don't be closing no doors.
No.
Don't let her hear a slam door. Damn, closing the door. Don't slam a door. You close the door and you're gonna get, man. They just don't understand that this is how unacceptable this is, especially for people who grew up in the way we grew up.
Right. So I agree with you. Like, line them all up. All them kids need their ass whooped. The parents need their ass whooped for not doing nothing about this, for raising these little heathens, these little savages. Like, nah, like you said, there's some people that need to be in jail. They need to go to juvenile hall. They need to learn what they did was wrong and not to do it again.
Absolutely, my good brother. Is there anything else?
Just check out Front Line Blacc News, y'all. Y'all know where to find us.
Much love to you, my good brother. Thank you for coming up. Family, thank you, Miss Niecy and Jesse, for coming up and giving their 2 cents on it. And since you guys gave your 2 cents on it, I don't need to play this next clip because it was
All right, so that's going to conclude this season 11, brand new season, episode 1 of Grand Rising with Shabaka and the Chase in conjunction with the Frontline Blacc News. Join us tomorrow for a brand new season and a brand new episode of Frontline Blacc News, season 6, episode 1 of Frontline Blacc News. So we'll see y'all then. In the meantime, make sure y'all like and subscribe to all of our platforms. Frontline Blacc News on YouTube and Facebook. Frontline Blacc News 2 on YouTube, The revolutionary agenda on YouTube and Facebook is Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter. So peace, love, light, reparations, separations, delineations, and Black empowerment. Sharing Kumas on and out from the mile high income and illegal migrant flooded city known as Denver, Colorado. Peace and Black empowerment.